It's time for Intelligent Machines. Jeff Jarvis is here. Paris Martineau is here. Our guest, Mike McCue. You may remember Flipboard, his last startup. He's doing a new thing that I think is the future of social on the internet. Stay tuned. Surf with Mike McCue is next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Intelligent Machines, episode 818, recorded Wednesday, May 7th, 2025, between two orbs. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show where we talk about the latest in AI, robotics, and all those smart doohickeys all around you at all times. I am Leo Laporte, glad to have you here with Jeff Jarvis, who is a professor of journalistic. What kind of professor are you at Marymount and SUNY?
You've got it all wrong. You've got it all wrong.
Everyday professor?
I'm a fellow at Montclair State
Montclair, Marymount. What's the difference?
I'm a visiting professor in the School of Communication and Journalism at Stony Brook University.
Okay.
And I'm an emeritus professor at the Craig.
No, we don't want to sing it anymore. I got an email. No more singing.
One grumpy person.
All right, we'll have a poll.
If you like the Craig Newmark song, get in the comments. And by the comments, I mean Leo's email.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
or the Discord.
Or the Discord.
Keep the Song says Snoop Mikey, whoever that is.
Thanks,
love the song.
Snoop Mikey.
Jammer B
Snoop.
says sing it. Riff
Patrick
Rafe.
Delahanty says sing man.
Okay, all right.
Berserk. Craig. Joe Esposito, sing.
Okay. We finally got rid of the flutes, and now we got to do this for the rest of our lives.
You just hate having fun. That's the problem.
That's Paris Martineau, who loves having fun. She's back home.
I famously love having fun.
She is.
In New York City.
In New York, in Brooklyn, New York. Martineau 01 on the Signal. You're using Signal, right? Not TM Signal, right?
I'm not using TM Signal, which I believe has been shut down due to the amount of cybersecurity issues it was having. 404
Media got a great scoop on that one where a hacker is, the day after Tim Walz is seen using TM Signal at a cabinet meeting, a hacker breaks into it. The hacker says, I wasn't trying to break into it. I just thought, let me see what I can do. And all of a sudden, he's got everything, all the messages.
Deep respect to that man.
It's like, oh, man, that's not good. That's not good. We have a great guest. I'm kind of stunned that we have never had Mike McCue on the show before. I thought, Mike, I apologize. I thought you'd been on many times.
I feel like I've been on many times, but
and we've been using your name in vain for years and years and years. So maybe that's why it feels like I know you. You may remember one of Mike's first ventures, which was Tell Me, sold to Microsoft. You worked for Microsoft a couple of years, and then you started in 2010 something that has really become synonymous with Mike McCue, Flipboard. Still at flipboard.com, but you've got something new that we're going to show everybody today. So that's kind of exciting. So tell me a little bit about you, Mike. You're obviously a serial entrepreneur. Is that your love? Is that your true love?
I love building products with great people, with a purpose. That is what I do.
What purpose?
Well, usually it's about how do we democratize access to information? How do we bring people closer together? I've been building some kind of a web browser for pretty much my entire career.
Interesting. Yeah, Tell Me was going to be an audio web browser, right? You would call
a voice browser, we called it.
Mm-hmm. It's very cool.
It's a great idea.
We used to call it, so the first browser I worked on was a 3D browser. It used a language, a standard called VRML, Virtual Reality Markup Language. That was my first browser project. And then I worked on the early days of the Quarterdeck Mosaic browser.
Oh, yes.
And then Netscape acquired the company that I was building at the time called Paper Software. And so then I started working on the Netscape browser. And then after that, I started Tell Me, which was a voice browser. And now I'm doing a social web browser.
Why are browsers important?
Well, it's an amazing kind of app in that you can access all of the content that is connected to some sort of open protocol. And when people are building on that open protocol, HTML and HTTP as an example, it's an amazing window into an ecosystem, right? And so, AOL used to be the way that people were online. That was the dominant model for being online. It was totally proprietary, and the web browser with a very simple protocol, HTML and HTTP, changed all that. And that's the thing that has always fascinated me, the democratization of these ecosystems, these online content ecosystems.
It's kind of the Uber app, isn't it? It's kind of a meta app. It doesn't itself have any content. It's just a window to all the other content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. And that is what is starting to happen now with what we're building with Surf. We call it a social browser. It's a browser for the social web, which is made up of ActivityPub, Proto, and RSS.
So I want to apologize, because when we first started looking at Surf, I lumped it in with a few other attempts to do something similar at the time, which all at the time seemed to me, and I positioned it obviously incorrectly, as, what are we going to do when TikTok goes away? Right.
That was when you just did a demo of putting TikTok as a demonstration onto Blue Sky. That wasn't Surf.
Right.
And then I thought, Leo, you were okay in the end, because when we got Surf proper, the fact that it's tied to open protocols,
I love that.
ActivityPub and AT, that's everything.
Right.
Well, you know how email is an app, right? It's a whole separate app, but also it's a website, right? Gmail is a website you can just go to, right?
Right.
And this concept of TikTok being like a completely separate app where the only thing you can do is see these vertical videos that only people in that ecosystem are posting. That's like an old-fashioned model. Yes. And really the idea is like people should be able to post videos, podcasts, short text posts, long text posts. These are just people posting things, and you should be able to follow them. It's not like you should have like a separate app just to look at only photos or just videos, right? So the concept of a browser is these things are just websites. These things are just services that are on this open protocol, and that actually makes them a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
We had this, and Flipboard was a response to the kind of the death of Google Reader. We had RSS, right? Yeah. We had a way to do this with a standardized protocol.
Did Google Reader die before Flipboard started, or after?
Just after. After.
You killed it. It's your fault. No, but I always thought of Flipboard as kind of a better RSS reader in a way, right?
Much richer.
Yeah.
And and what's interesting is we called Flipboard a social magazine. And the idea was actually to connect with RSS, but also all of the APIs from Facebook, from Twitter, from Instagram, LinkedIn. So we could pull together all of the social activity into one beautiful magazine-like experience on your iPad and on your iPhone. And now, of course, all those APIs got shut down over time, right? And but now, the idea of bringing all that social activity together again is possible once again because of these new open protocols.
It's back.
It's back. And better than ever.
So right now with Surf, which is in beta test, right? Do I need test flight to use it on my iPhone?
That's right. It's in a private beta with test flight right now.
How can people get involved? There's a picture of it. Is it iPhone only, or do you have Android as well?
We have Android as well.
Android.
Okay. There's Jeff with his Android again.
Wait, so how does this work?
So if you go to surf.social, you can sign up for the beta.
Oh, good.
We've been letting small groups of folks in every week or so when we come out with a new release to try to see, we're trying to dial everything in. We've been focused on people who are looking to build feeds. So what Surf does is it lets you discover and surf all the feeds across the social web. and also lets you make feeds. And I'll show you how that works. But we're focused right now on bringing in people who love to build feeds about specific hobbies or cool trends or other kinds of politics feeds or tech feeds, AI feeds, and we're collaborating with them to kind of like learn how to dial this in. And ultimately, when we go live, we'll have a whole bunch of feeds from lots of folks that everybody can try surfing themselves.
So right now it's just AT Proto, which is of course the Blue Sky protocol, and Mastodon's activity, or the Fediverse, I should say, ActivityPub. Are there other protocols that you support, or?
Yeah, RSS as well. So
RSS,
we actually support all three.
Okay.
And that lets you, let's say, so when we say the social web, the open social web, what do we mean by that? That's basically all the people posting with these apps that are compatible with these protocols. So that means anyone posting on Threads who have federated their account, anyone posting on Blue Sky, anyone posting on Flipboard, since we now support ActivityPub, people posting on Mastodon, PixelFed, which is a new kind of Instagram clone built on ActivityPub. Loops, which is a TikTok clone built on ActivityPub. Anyone posting with any of these apps out onto the open social web, you can see them, you can follow them here on Surf. And then by supporting RSS, that also gets you access to every podcast, every YouTube channel, every newsletter, and it kind of brings it all together. And we think of Surf as a browser. It doesn't browse websites as much as it browses feeds, right? So we think of the open social web as a collection of feeds, and that's kind of the fundamental building block for things on the social web.
Can you show us?
Yeah.
Yeah, give us a demo. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Surf here. You can see it kind of looks like a browser. You've got a search bar, URL bar at the bottom. You can type in any Fediverse or any feed address, or you can search. You can also post here. So the little pencil icon here, I can go ahead and write a post and post. And I'm logged in right now with my Blue Sky account and my Mastodon account. So I've got two different accounts that I've logged in with here.
And would it post to both?
You can post. Well, right now we don't do cross posting. You have to post, you can either post to Mastodon or to Blue Sky.
Oh, okay.
We don't let you post at the same time quite yet. That's coming.
Good.
And then up here you can see I've got some bookmarks. These are like feeds that I go to all the time, like NBA threads. And then I've got down here feeds that I'm making. So these are feeds that I made. I've got one called Insta, which is my own kind of photo feed. I'll show you that in a sec. Another one called Chill, which is like nothing but awesome videos for my favorite things. And then you can see feeds that other people are sharing and making, that they're being shared out on the social web. So there's one here called Retrospection, all cool retro things. Speaking Truth to Power, which is all, sort of publicly funded journalism for, like ProPublica and so on. And I'll show you what a feed looks like just so we can kind of get oriented here. So let's go into one of my favorite feeds. It's called NBA Threads, and this is made by a guy named David Rushing. He goes by Yo Rush on Threads and Blue Sky. And NBA Threads is, it started out as a hashtag on Threads where people were sharing about the NBA. And it became very popular. Adam Mosseri and others would talk about it. A lot of the NBA players who are on Threads know about this hashtag. And David Rushing became kind of the mayor of NBA Threads, if you will. And now, as sometimes happens, Meta and the Threads folks ended up making some moderation decisions that ended up upsetting some of the folks that were on Threads, and they went over to Blue Sky. And so the community, sort of like the hashtag NBA Threads hashtag, actually was continued to use on Blue Sky. People kept posting with that on Blue Sky. And so now the community was sort of split apart in these two different places. A few folks went over to Mastodon as well. And so with Surf, David Rushing made this feed because he wanted to reunite the community. And this feed will show you all the posts using hashtag NBA threads that are on Blue Sky, on Threads, on Mastodon. It doesn't matter where people are posting from. And these are all, real-time posts that people are making about the NBA. And so you can see here, I can go in and look at any of these posts. I can like it. I can go in and look at the the comments. I can reply myself, and I can just participate in this feed just like if I was on Blue Sky or Threads. But I don't have to care about whether this person posted with Threads or Blue Sky. It just works. I'm just seeing cool NBA Threads posts. And what's really cool about Surf is you can also look at these feeds in different ways. So, for example, I can go to Watch, and oops, I don't want to do that. I go to Watch, and now what I'm going to see is all the videos that people are posting on NBA Threads. Oh. So that, and I can just scroll through these. It's almost like TikTok for NBA Threads, right? And this is super cool. The videos autoplay. Now, sometimes they are RSS posts, like this one here from the NBA. This is actually the NBA YouTube channel that David Rushing added as a source to this feed. And so this becomes a great place to go. Like the NBA, this feed is really awesome when the games are happening. You see people posting in real time when there's some really cool, awesome play. But then when the games are like over, at night, in the morning, you can come over to this watch tab and you can just watch, recaps of the game, sort of post-game and pre-game coverage. It's really pretty cool. And again, I can go in and I can like these things. I can repost them to my Blue Sky account or my Mastodon account. I can participate in these conversations. And I can also go over here and maybe I just want to listen to podcasts. So David also added a set of podcasts as sources. And I could just go and scroll through these. What's cool about this is David's done all the work to try to find the best podcasts for the NBA and the best YouTube channels for the NBA. And he's put them all in this feed.
This is the key thing that we need in this age of overabundant speech is finding the good stuff.
Well, curation is the term we always used. And to give somebody a tool like this that allows them to do curation and then share it with everybody seems very powerful. Seems the I don't want to be negative because I really like this, but I also really like Mastodon. And all I ever hear from people when I say, "Oh, Mastodon," is it's too hard, it's too complicated. So you obviously know you've got to deal with that somehow, whether it's with discovery or some other feature. How are you dealing with that? Because, it's not complicated to go to TikTok. You just log, you create an account and all of a sudden it's showing you stuff. And the more you use it, the better the stuff you're seeing is from your point of view, right?
Right.
That's really good discovery. How do you meet that need?
Yeah. Well, there are two ways to think about Mastodon. There's Mastodon, the app, the sort of Twitter clone experience.
Right.
And then there's Mastodon, the infrastructure.
Right.
With all these cool instances.
Yeah.
You run an instance, right?
Not only run an instance, but my blog is is using ActivityPub. I use microblog, so that's right. And I also have a PixelFed feed, and so I'm very much part of the Fediverse.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And what is really cool about this is that in the early days of this open social web, people tend to think of it in terms of just these different apps, right?
Oh, it was very siloed.
It's very siloed, and it's kind of just like, take the things from the closed world and just make them work in the open world, right? It would be as if we had like AOL, somebody cloned AOL and made a website out of it, right?
Yeah.
That would not have worked AOL. Well with, right, exactly. And so what was interesting about when Netscape happened is it made the entire web more approachable. It made it more discoverable, more approachable. They created tools for major publishers to create websites. And that is really when things started to take off. And that's the era of the open social web I think we're in right now. So I hope, honestly, I hope to be the Netscape of the open social web. Make it more approachable. Make it something that's more discoverable, that normal, everyday people would use. And, people don't want to go to, an open thing just because it's open, right? That's not like, there are people like you and I who care about that, but most people don't really care. What they want is they want their favorite content from their favorite creators, from their favorite publishers, their favorite YouTube channels, right? They want to find all that stuff and then get the benefit of all this curation, right?
Part of what you're saying about Mastodon, I think, is that whereas Mastodon is difficult to get going, I come in to surf and I might find a feed that is almost entirely Mastodon, and I've got a starter kit to get me into Mastodon.
Right.
So we're talking to Mike McCue, is the creator of a new product called Surf. Of course, you know Mike from Flipboard and many other tools. And we're talking about, so if you're interested, go, what is the URL again?
Surf.social.
Social. And you can sign up. It is right now in a limited beta. So sign up and hope that you'll get in soon. I've been in for a while and I really like it.
If you use a referral code, we can come up with a referral code right now, Leo. And,
we could let our audience.
And then I can prioritize folks to get into the beta.
Ready for 40,000 new users?
Test flight only lets us put in 10,000.
Okay. Paris should have the code.
One of the things that I found when I first signed up was at the bottom, there's set up your timeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that immediately, that's a great discovery tool because immediately you can follow the people. I added my Mastodon on my Blue Sky account, so I could follow those people. But there's also a Discover feed, which I'm going to follow. The best of follows, journalists, broadcast news network, news podcasts. You've created some of these, I see, Mike. Technology podcasts, tech builders and thinkers. So there are a whole bunch of basic categories. And you can also, and this, I think people are going to love this. I know they're always asking us for this. There's a switch to minimize politics, minimize news, or minimize Elon Musk.
the three, you know, it used to be, it used to be whatever it is, religion, money, sex, money, and now it's news, politics, and Musk.
This was our #1 user request, if you can believe it.
Really?
That's right.
It is for us too, by the way. I'll say
by
the same.
popular demand.
Yeah. And so the idea, you think this does feel a lot like Flipboard. Is it just kind of an evolution of what Flipboard was going to be or was intended to be?
In some ways. We've learned a lot in the 15 years since we built Flipboard.
Yes.
And the world has changed. We now have AI. We now have the open social web. And so with Surf, we decided to, rather than try to modify Flipboard, create something totally new from the ground up.
Well, and also
by the way,
Flipboard was really good on a bigger screen. This is perfect for the small screen that most people are using these days, right?
Yeah. And you know, the thing too is like people who use Flipboard really love it and they don't want us to change it. Right. I've actually had people come up to me and say, thank you for not changing Flipboard. So
I think that's right.
You know, once you dial it in and people like it, there's no point in changing it. For us, we decided to say, okay, well, you know, if we just started with a clean slate now, you know, knowing where we are, right? And thinking about it from like an ecosystem point of view, because you can't just think about this this is a two-sided marketplace. You can't just think about the consumer experience. You also have to think about the publishers, the content creators, the thought leaders, the curators. How do you create a platform, an ecosystem that is sustainable for them, right?
Yes.
And that is key, because like when you look at AI now, it is both a very good thing and a very bad thing. And on the bad front, you know, I've talked to publishers and content creators who see their content, their refer traffic from Google dropping by 40, 50, 60%. And it's not being made up for by, you know, citations in these AI apps, right? So how do you discover these writers, these, you know, photographers? How do you discover these, you know, all these different people who are making really great content, especially now when there's just tons and tons of like AI slop and right? Well, the answer, ironically, I think is going to be both human curation powered by AI, almost like bionic curators, if you will, right? So there's a real opportunity to, you know, help people who are actual real people connect with each other across all these different kinds of social apps that they're using in a way that helps benefit the broader ecosystem of how we all share content online.
Talk about the slop for a second. The new Meta's new AI app is all people making.
It's an oops all slop situation.
Yeah, it's people making made up things that have no context. And I'm not against people making images where it illustrates what they want to say.
I'm for it because it gets it off Instagram. Put it on meta.ai, put it on the Meta AI app.
The
at
stuff
least
is
you know what
showing
you're
up.
going
I'm
to get.
seeing all these videos now on TikTok, even though it's not part of this, of fake animal rescue videos.
Yeah, I don't want to see
that
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So how do you, you've got the no Elon Musk. Is it possible to do the no slop?
Well, yes. And there's multiple strategies for that. But one of the most powerful ways to do that is to make sure that what you're seeing in a social app is coming from genuine people that you follow, that you specifically, either you follow them or someone suggested them to you. And so what you really want is genuine human connections. So if I follow you, Jeff, you're not going to post some fake, animal rescue video. I know you're going to post good quality things, right? So that human connection is more important than ever now.
And we don't have to all put our eyes in Orb to prove we're human. It's because you know somebody.
Right. Well, it's a good example. The Speaking Truth to Power feed that you mentioned was created by Ben Werdmuller, who has been in this. He created Six Apart. He's been in this for a long time. I used his blog platform back in the early days. It's great to see somebody like that who I not only trust, but I'm interested in what he thinks. So if I find that feed and I say, oh, Ben did this, that makes it a really valuable, powerful thing. And that's why curation is so important, human curation, because I'm going to trust that Ben's not going to put AI slop in there. Or if he does, it's going to be in there for a good reason.
Just a quick correction here. It was created by Ben Trott.
Ben Trott. I was thinking of Ben and Mina.
Grabowski.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, there's two different feeds, but the one I'm looking at is Ben Werdmuller.
Right.
Speaking Truth to Power.
That's what
and if you go to, that's right. And what's really great here is if you go to the sources tab for any feed. So remember back in the early days of the web, you'd go into like view source and you could see how a web page was made. Right. Remember those days?
Back in the day.
Right.
And so
this is the sort of moral equivalent of that. You can go to the sources tab and you can see how Speaking Truth to Power was made by Ben.
Yes.
And you can see all the different people. Now, some of these people you might know, some of these people you might not know. And that's the cool thing. By, sort of power of Ben curating these folks, now you know who's legit here, right? And some of these folks are on Blue Sky. Some of them are on Mastodon. Again, you don't have to care as a user. You don't care whether they're posting with Mastodon or Blue Sky. It just works. And that's the cool thing. Some of these are RSS feeds. Some of these are YouTube channels. And that's really what, is so powerful about this is as you have experts who know what the good stuff is. If they can gather it together and pull that together, which they're kind of naturally incentivized to do for their own purposes, right? Like this is probably a feed that Ben constantly checks. And then he can share that with other people to use. And then what's really cool is that you can take feeds and put them in other feeds. So this feed here can be the source of another feed.
Oh my God.
And so these become building blocks. They're like Lego blocks.
Mike, if you take feed A and you put it into feed B, if I'm in control of feed A and I add something, does that come into feed B or only I take feed A as a snapshot when I move it?
Yeah, let's just do something here as a quick experiment, right? I'm going to make a new feed. So I'm going down here to Surf and I'm saying, create a feed. Now, this is the part that you don't have yet, Leo, that we have these new feed templates. This is the internal beta. And you can see we're going to make it easy for you to make different kinds of feeds, right? If you want a photo feed that's just awesome photos from really cool photographers, you can make one of those. If you want a really cool video feed, we can, great YouTube channels and other, topics that you care about, you can make one of those, right? And it's really easy. Let's just build on what you were saying, Jeff. Let's just go ahead and make a custom feed here, totally custom. And I'm just going to call it, Truth and Tech, okay? Truth Tech. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add Ben Werdmuller's feed, Speaking Truth to Power. So I'm just searching for it here. There it is. So I'm going to add his feed as a source, right? Mm-hmm. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into settings, and I'm going to say I want everything that he has in there, but what I want to do is I want to only see posts that are about tech.
Oh, interesting.
And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this feed on top. Now this is where the AI comes in. So this is AI being used for good. So what I'm doing is I've created an AI filter that says I'm going to see now posts from that feed, but that are specifically tech focused. So now I've saved the feed. And now let's go look at it.
So all the sources stay there. You've just gotten a subset.
All the sources are there. Well, that's right. And so now these are posts that are about tech, the crypto racket, the satellite internet rules, et cetera, right? From that same feed.
It is.
Isn't that cool? And then I can say, oh, by the way, let's just look at the articles. Maybe I don't want the conversation. So you can just scroll through here and it's just article after article.
Are publishers loving you because you're still keeping their brand and their links?
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, I remember Flipboard being the thing you'd see at the top of the referral page.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. We've been a long time traffic driver to the end. We've driven billions and billions and billions of referrals over the years. I think we do about 4 billion a year right now on Flipboard alone. So I hope
the other thing is you don't hurt anybody in the process. And even that Mastodon and Blue Sky, there's no harm to them. They're not like an old website demanding to be the destination. You're getting more use to what's there.
That's
more
right.
Interactivity. And
that's
publishers
right.
too.
And publishers, they need more avenues for discovery.
Oh, yeah.
This is Cal Matters, and they actually have a magazine on Flipboard. We federated our magazines to ActivityPub. So now anyone on Mastodon, anyone on Threads,
thank you for doing that.
We were very happy when you did that, and we made a big point of it.
I am so happy to hear you guys say that.
Yeah.
And so now I'm looking at this. This is actually the post that came from a Flipboard magazine. Cal Matters doesn't have to do anything else. All they have to do is just publish. And this stuff is going to get discovered now with this kind of curation and with these kinds of feeds. And then as a user, I can go in, I can repost like I just did here. It reposted here using my Mastodon account because this is an ActivityPub, feed. I can go in reply. I can go in and, go into that specific publisher and go look at all their posts. So this is what I mean by a feed browser, right? You're just kind of jumping between feeds back and forth and looking at them in different ways and discovering feeds that are mashed together and filtered in all these creative ways.
Human created AI filtered. All right, it's just like it's 1998. The business model is?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question.
Well, there's no one business model. Just like the web, there's no one business model for the web. Right. The goal here is to let content creators and independent creators use whatever business model they want. So if they want to put ads in their feed, they should be able to do that. If they want to be able to put a paywall on their feed, they should be able to do that. If they don't want it all to be free, but then drive people to their website and that's where they generate revenue, they should be able to do that.
What about you?
For Flipboard? Yeah, well, our goal would be, currently we sell ads, and so we partner with creators if they wanted to have ads. We have to do that in a way that is sustainable and privacy oriented, right? Not surveillance based advertising. So that is a key component that before any ads show up here on the open social web really needs to be thought through.
Although they
need to be contextual and
because for instance, here's a pizza feed. If you're going to advertise Papa John's, you're going to do it in the pizza feed.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So you already have a very strong signal. You don't need to surveil me.
Right.
I'm following pizza. Show me pizza ads, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And also, what's amazing is, like, let's say you're The Verge. You can't actually put ads in your own Twitter feed on The Verge. You can't even do that today. That's insane, right? And meanwhile, you have these advertisers. They're good advertisers. The Verge has fantastic advertisers. Why not let them be able to put ads in their feed, right? In a way that is good and a good user experience. Creators do need subsidization, right? They have to be able to generate revenue. And so ads is certainly one model, but also another model is think Patreon, right? Being able to join and have different levels of memberships. One of the things that creators need, and the creators who are really savvy know that by having a community, and having a membership tier where you can get access to, exclusive access to a community, that's a great way to generate revenue. So a lot of, like, if you go to Patreon, you'll see there's like all these Discord servers that you can join if you join up with a particular creator. But the problem with Discord servers is they're closed, and you got to get a Discord account, and then the community is sort of walled off from everyone else, and it's kind of meant for gamers and crypto folks, and it's not like a normal person's place to kind of hang out in a community. But if you look at the social web and think, wow, you can build communities right here. I don't have to go create another account just to join a community. It'll just work, right? So the opportunity to bring people together more around content creators and their content, around interests, around, movements and clubs and things like that is all doable here on the social web. And that's the most exciting part. And the feeds are sort of the primary way where people collect, like the NBA Threads example.
We're talking, I want to take a little break. Hold on a second. Save that thought. We're talking to Mike McCue, creator of Flipboard. His latest is very interesting, called Surf. Go to surf.social. You could sign up for the beta. How long are you going to stay in beta? You anticipate a public release soon, or?
I'm hoping that later this summer we can get into production.
This to me is what I would rather do than open Twitter or Blue Sky or Instagram. I want to open Surf, and I want to kind of sample the world. I really like this idea. And unlike a browser, it doesn't just sit there and say, where do you want to go? It proposes content based on your interests right off the top. I think it's just right for the times. Do you want to stick around a little bit, Mike? We're going to take an ad break.
Have to.
Okay. Because I have a few other questions. In fact, I have some questions.
And Paris has some questions
to the news, because browsers are very much in the news right now with the FTC wanting Google to sell Chrome, and I think you've probably done a lot of thinking about browsers.
It was already suggested in the Discord that Mike should buy Chrome. So
yeah,
yeah, you got Chrome money sitting around.
Exactly.
I tell you that
Chrome
money. We'll have more with Mike McCue on intelligent machines in just a bit. Our show today brought to you by, speaking of money, Monarch Money. Once I found this, I signed up immediately. Finances, as you know, especially nowadays, can be messy, can be confusing. Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control of what's going on in your financial life, so you can stop just, kind of earning on the rat wheel and start growing. It's more than your average budgeting app. In fact, I don't even want to call it a budgeting app. Monarch Money is a financial command center. Everything's in there, and it's very easy to get it set up. All your accounts, your investments, what you're saving for, what you're earning for, your goals. It isn't just managing your money. It's a way to start building your wealth. And by the way, right now, 50% off your first year, just for you, our listeners. I love Monarch Money because I don't have to spend a lot of energy finding out what the stock market's done to my retirement savings. I can go right to Monarch Money, but I can also see where I can cut back in areas where I'm spending more than maybe I want to. It's a really useful tool to give you kind of they call it in business, that single pane of glass where everything you need to know about your finances is right there. Start managing your finances. Build the life you actually want. Because I could tell you right now, at my age, without a clear financial picture, as when you're young, when you're earning, financial dreams can be out of reach. They could feel out of reach, certainly, and may even be out of reach. Monarch makes managing money simple. Put it within reach. Even if you're busy, it couldn't be easier. With all your accounts, your credit cards, your investments, your whole net worth in one place, you'll always know where your money stands without the hassle. You track your spending, your savings, your investments effortlessly, so you can focus on what matters most, making your biggest life goals a reality. It's a finance tool people actually love. Join over 1 million households that use Monarch Money. It was named Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. 5. It is the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts. Over 30,000 5-star reviews make it 30,001. I could not love this more. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code IM at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code IM. Mike McCue is our guest, a name that I know most of you will recognize, whether it was from Flipboard or his new tool. I don't know what it's an app, but it's more like a window to the world, really.
It's a browser.
It is a
the
browser.
new everything app, some might say.
And calling it surf kind of emphasizes it is a browser. You're surfing.
It's a browser. It's a browser for the open social web.
Some people in the Discord, our club Twit, had wanted to know, do you guys have any plans to eventually make surf available for browsing in the browser or on a laptop, or is it going to be largely smartphone focused for the time being?
No, 100%. We will have a desktop app, as well as also it will be a website. In fact, Surf did start off life as a website that you could go to, surf.social. I'm particularly excited about that because when you render these feeds with a big giant screen, it's completely awesome. Like the photo feeds that I look at, they'll look like coffee table book pages, right? On your big screen. There's a lot of cool.
Always done a great job of that, of making things look beautiful on a big screen.
Also, let's come up with a referral code since you mentioned it, because people are wondering, how about Twit? Does that work?
Twit works. Twit works. And so, yes, if you sign up surf.social with the referral code TWIT, then we can make sure that we try to prioritize you in these upcoming waves of folks that we let in. We only have about 10,000 people that you can let in with a test flight beta.
How many people do you have in there right now?
Yeah.
We've got about maybe 2,000 or so that we've let in so far. So it's a relatively small group.
It's amazing how replete with content it is for such a small group. I mean, you solved the network effect problem because everything is part of it now, right? So you don't have to have a million members.
Well, it's a reflection, not so much of surf. It's a reflection of how the social web is growing.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a window, as you said, it's a window into the open social web, and more people are joining every day. More people are posting. More people, there's more and more vibrancy happening here. There's probably about 50 million profiles on the open social web today. Those are, whether you created them on Blue Sky or Mastodon or Flipboard, there's probably about 50 million or so.
That's not including the closed. That's not including x.com, and is it only the open? That's the open social web, right? So so there's about 50 million or so, maybe a bit more. And by the way, it's probably been growing. Well, I think it probably grew about 4x in the last 7 or 8 months or so, because of the election.
And most of those are humans as opposed to other places.
Bots, yeah.
Well,
it's actually really it's really interesting that the problem with these siloed places like X, for a long time people were saying, what are we going to do? How do we replace X? And you've answered the question in a completely orthogonal way. It's not how do we replace X? It's how do we create what people got out of X in a new way that combines all these signals. And I think that's you've succeeded at that. I mean, this scratches that itch very much so.
I love hearing you say that, man. That is exactly what we were going for. We did not want to create like another Twitter clone or there are very powerful things about social media that are actually really important online. So, if Al Gore recommends a piece of content, an article, a video that you should watch, that's like a legit, piece of content that you want to see. And if you just see that same piece of content surface to you through some nameless, faceless algorithm, how do you know it's any good? When people endorse content, when they endorse a writer, it's a very powerful signal. And that's really what Twitter did in the early days. That was so cool, right?
Yeah. You've been a really big supporter of Mastodon and of Eugene Rajko there. I'm curious what you hear from them, and I presume Jay Graber and maybe even Adam Massari. What's the social boss view of this?
Well, Eugene is like, I think of Eugene as like, he's a hero to me. He really is. He has built on almost his own back the whole sort of model for what we know as the Fediverse today and Mastodon. In terms of the app experience and the infrastructure. And then you have Evan Prodromo and a whole bunch of different folks who worked on ActivityPub to build that protocol. And then you have Jay Graber, who is one of the most thoughtful, kind of holistic thinkers about how all the technology and user experience pieces should come together. One of the great things that the at Proto and Blue Sky team did is they created this concept of custom feeds, which is incredibly powerful. And so everybody's working on some piece of this, and there's a lot of camaraderie. It's one of the cool things is we all just think of ourselves as like, Team Fediverse. We're all just kind of collaborating together, constantly innovating, talking to each other. How can we get this better? How can we make that better? Even though there are two different protocols, by far, everyone is still mostly in alignment about where we want to go. We're learning from each other in different protocols. You have folks like John O'Nolan, who's building Ghost, which is a phenomenal alternative to Substack that's completely open and open sourced.
God bless.
He's integrating ActivityPub. He's learning and building in public. He's collaborating with us. He's working to get long form text built into ActivityPub in the protocol, so that the whole blog can travel along, the ActivityPub connections. So there's so much innovation happening under the covers right now, under the radar, I should say. Everyone's talking about AI. AI is a big deal, but meanwhile, the future of the web is being built right now.
One of the things, though, that I would say is that this requires a certain amount of altruism. This is really antithetical to the other class of billionaires who are trying to build their pocketbooks, not a community. Because otherwise, people like Jay Graber might say, well, you're free riding on Blue Sky, or Eugene might say, well, you're free riding on Mastodon. We've done all the work to create a community, and now you're just piping that content into your own app. Do you agree, though, that there has to be this kind of sense of we're all in this together, that, because otherwise it does, you might say, well, you've created an app that just scoops up stuff from other people's apps.
Well, that's the thing that is really powerful here. It's not about the apps. It's about the communities that are being built on this new open ecosystem. And so what's wild about all of this, like Eugene, Jay, me, we don't care whether people use our app or not as much as we care whether people use the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And build these communities, right? So that's the thing. There's an amazing, people sometimes talk about the killer app as like, being a sort of validation of a platform. To me, I think the more interesting way to think about that here is what's the killer community? And here's an example of that. There's a guy named Rudy Fraser, who is one of the most thoughtful people around how to build community with technology online today. And he's built something called Black Sky. Are you familiar with this? It is.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
It is absolutely a breakthrough in how do you build safe places for people to come together and feel like they belong online in a community. He is innovating on technology. He's built this on @Proto. He's pushing the protocol and the thinking forward with all of the needs that he has to build this community. And people love participating in this community. There's another great example of a community. It's just called Science, and it's all these amazing scientists who are on @Proto on Blue Sky all together. It's fully moderated. You have to actually prove that you're a scientist, in order to be able to contribute. But when you go to that custom feed, it is amazing. It's so high quality. It's scientists talking about science, and it's really fantastic. So this concept of what we all want is an open web where people can gather around great content using open standards. And whether they use Surf or Blue Sky or Mastodon or some combination, it really doesn't matter. What matters is people gathering around those communities. And really, if you think about what happened with the web, we built a protocol and a model where you could use any web browser, right? And sure, Netscape wanted their web browser to be used and Microsoft wanted their web browser to be used. But at the end of the day, when you really back up and what matters mostly is that the web happens. Otherwise, there's no point in having a browser, right? And everyone will have their own take on how to browse this new open social web. We've got our take. Other people will have other takes. That's the whole point.
Love it.
I just post. So this is the other thing that is answering that question a little bit. Is it's not a one-way feed. It is also, I can post from this, right? I can post.
That's right. Yeah.
Where does it go?
It goes to the account that you're logged in with. So
Okay.
think of it, like email, where you have, let's say, 2 email addresses that you're using in the same email app.
Yes.
It's a lot like that. If Jeff emails you to your personal account and you reply to Jeff, it'll know to just reply from your personal account, right? So it's sort of like that. If you see a post that's, let's say it's a Blue Sky post, it will reply from your Blue Sky account. And
Right.
you're right. And so if on the other hand, if it's a Threads post, and you have Mastodon account, it will reply from your Mastodon account.
I'm logged into both Blue Sky and Mastodon. Will it post to both of those?
You can post. You can't. We don't have cross posting where you can write one post and post
It goes to them.
simultaneously.
I can choose though.
But you can choose, and then we will have cross posting soon. That's a obvious feature we need to build.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that's great, it's a good way to follow news stories. I could see the Papal Enclave in here. I could see a lot of stuff that's just happening right now. And that's kind of...
Can you see the 2 seagulls landed on top of the place where the smoke comes out, the chimney? That's big breaking conclave news.
That's a sign.
It does mean that if a 3rd seagull comes, that seagull legally is considered the Pope.
Is the Pope.
So we've got to keep our eyes peeled.
I wonder whether Padre is running the chimney cam.
He's involved in this and somehow. He said his work has just begun. That's when I sent him a note of condolence. So, yeah, he is involved in some way. There's a lot of work.
I think he should dress some of the Vaticats up in papal garb, kind of run an interference.
My favorite post already on Surf said, why do they have black smoke? They should just say nope.
Did you see the Popeyes? So Popeyes.
I did see that one also on Surf.
Yes.
Popeyes and
with white smoke.
That's actually pretty good.
With black
I was
smoke.
getting ready to chastise you for bringing a brand tweet in this sacred space, but that's actually acceptable.
Yeah.
This is so exciting.
It is
Such a
really cool.
App.
I do feel like it's not maybe going to get the kind of mass acceptance that, say, a TikTok has. It is really going to be for people like us, which I hate to say it, Mike, but for people like us, that's a good thing. Probably not for you.
We're the early adopter crowd, right? But like I said,
Twitter was better when it was just us peoples, right?
That's right. Well, it comes back to the communities, right? So the first thing that my teenage daughters did when they started using Surf is they just made a YouTube playlist of their favorite YouTubers, and that's what they use. And then they share it with their friends. Now their friends can't actually access it yet because they're not on the beta. But that is the kind of thing.
Oh, Dad.
What I know, right?
Can't my friends get on?
We really do need to get this out there to more people so that more people can build, lots of cool, interesting communities. And the communities, that's where, it's like, I remember when I sold Netscape or sold my company Paper Software to Netscape, and people thought that I was insane. They were like, Mike, the internet is going nowhere. What are you doing? This is a crazy idea. And they're like, AOL's so easy. I get a CD-ROM, I put it in my computer, I get a screen, I click on travel, I make a travel, an airline reservation. Why do I need the internet? I have to go figure out like what internet service provider to use. What does that even mean? Then I have to download this thing, which by the way, what does download even mean? I got to download this browser. What's a browser? And then I type in http:// something, whatever.
No,
like,
not those slashes, those slashes.
Yeah, exactly. / right? Like not backslash. And it's just like, oh my God, what are you guys even thinking? This internet thing is going nowhere, right? But here's what happened. The simple protocol, HTTP, set it up so that anyone could make a website, which means that the innovation that was previously locked in AOL, they could only build and design what they could think of in that little team and fund, versus now the entire world is let loose to go build these websites, right? And now we have not just like make an airline reservation, but we have Airbnb, right? Which never, ever would have happened had it been for us not having the web, right? Yep. And just being in AOL. AOL would never have come up with that idea. So what are the ideas? What are the communities? What are the interesting ways to connect people and content together that will be enabled by this? We don't know. But I do know it won't be just a niche group like us who will be using that. It's going to be everyone, because everyone needs to be connected online. And now more than ever, they want genuine human connection. They want to find great content. My kids don't want to find AI slop. They want to see great YouTubers and great, great photographers. They want to find the good stuff. So by people getting together, being connected in more genuine ways, being in control of the algorithms, curating for each other, building these communities, you're going to have a whole new era for the web.
It's very exciting. I hope you're right. What do you think about Google selling Chrome?
Well,
you must have some.
I don't think it's good. I do. I don't think it's going to necessarily solve for what people are worried about.
No.
In fact, it might have the opposite effect because, well, it depends who they sold it to. Yeah.
Well, also, honestly, I think it's sort of like a few years too late to go after Google now. I mean, I kind of feel like we kind of benefit from having Google be strong now as a counterweight to Meta or OpenAI.
Good point.
So, the real company that I think people should be very, very concerned about is OpenAI. They are the new mega monopoly. They're building everything into OpenAI, right?
But Mike, they're a public benefit corporation and a not-for-profit now. That's all good.
Well, I think that what they have is truly remarkable and really quite useful in lots of ways. But at some point, when they're saying, "Oh, well, let's build a social network into this, and now let's build a browser," and everyone's kind of like, "Oh, wow, a browser's awesome for collecting people's data, and we can use that to train all our AI models," and like it just there's a whole other world that I think is something we got to be thoughtful about. Just selling Chrome. Yeah, I think is not really going to help
the problem. And yet the browser really is the most important app on almost every device these days, right?
It's where you spend a lot of your time. Right.
Right. I feel like we have a monoculture of Chromium based browsers now, and with one way, I think maybe the surf could solve this by giving us a way to look at a new way to look at content that isn't specifically browser based
and isn't specifically just the web.
Yeah,
which is getting ruined by slop.
I love it. The podcasts are in here, for instance. That's great. And YouTube videos, I take it, right?
And YouTube videos as well, and any newsletter that's being published on RSS.
RSS, any blog. I love it that RSS is in here. Yeah,
yeah. In some ways, RSS is sort of the forerunner to ActivityPub. ActivityPub is sort of two-way RSS.
Right. Yeah.
The thing that's really interesting about this, since you guys understand this stuff that I don't think people really fully appreciate, is that RSS was a link between a blog and an app that was an RSS reader.
Right.
It wasn't a link to me, right? It's not like I had a presence on the web. It was an app. And if I switched apps, I could import my RSS feeds using OPML into a different app. But the thing is that what creators need is they need a direct link to their audience members, right? And RSS doesn't give that to them. What ActivityPub does is it sort of sets it up as like, I have I am a node on the web, and my account is now connected to this creator or this person that I'm following. And that is an incredibly powerful signal. And that's a much more intricate web, a much more useful web than the web we have today, which unfortunately, we didn't think about, we thought about how to connect people, content, but we did not think about how to standardize the connections between people. And that's what gave rise to a whole new set of walled gardens after AOL, Meta and TikTok and X and so on. So by baking the human connection into the web as a part of the web, you now have something where you have something that's much bigger than just any of these apps like Blue Sky or Mastodon or Surf. It's actually a whole new web where you have websites and people that are linking together and connecting in all these new and interesting ways. So that's really the really exciting part of all this.
Yeah, this is a I don't know a social graph. It's a new way of looking at all of this content and all the links between all the content.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah, I really am excited about it. Mike, I want to thank you so much for joining us and spending a little extra time with us talking about this.
At the beginning and the end.
Yeah. The site is surf.social. There is an invite code, Twit, not a guarantee that you'll get in, just might move you up ahead a little bit in the line. I look forward to when you get out of test flight and everybody can join in and see what's going on here. I think it's really a very innovative idea. In many ways, it's kind of the second generation Flipboard. It's like the next thing. And I really like it. And I really think you've got something here. Very exciting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You'll do an iPad version, right? A big version.
Oh, absolutely. We'll have an iPad version, 100%.
Flipboard, to me, was like the iPad app. I mean, it really is. It's just, it's great on a bigger screen like that. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for
everything
having me.
you've done of all these years.
Really, thank you. This is so nice of you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for inspiring me and a whole raft of other founders and entrepreneurs. You guys keep us honest and keep us motivated. So thank you.
It's a nice ecosystem to be a part of.
Yeah.
And we'll let the other people in later. It's not yet.
The little people.
Thank you, Mike. Mike McCue.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
We'll continue on. We do have intelligent news. Oh, there's an Anthony appeared. A stray.
I want to thank Anthony because he had to go to a lot of extra effort to get the demo working.
He did a great job of switching that.
Thank you.
People aren't probably aware of how much work that was.
He didn't even have a cat overlord in the shot to help. He did that solo.
There was no cat overlord. Where'd the cat go? Let me show you before I go to the break one more picture of apparently our new cat. Which
good, because I was going to ask, but I was like, Paris, you can't keep derailing this cat stories.
Screen share. Oh yeah, I have to put my screen back in. Yeah, just to see if it has gizmo markings. That's all. Here, don't show it quite yet. Let me pull up the messages. I don't want to give away.
I'm currently trying to get ChatGPT to make a photo of Gizmo as the Pope, and it's taking a lot more effort than you'd expect.
Really? It seems like that should be pretty straightforward.
It seems straightforward, but then you send ChatGPT a couple photos of your cat. You ask for it to be the Pope. It sends you back a cat that looks similar, but it has the wrong face markings. So you've got to send it back again, and then you hit the photo upload limit. And listen, I know, but I was hoping to be my own Joe Esposito for once, but alas.
Yeah, she looks pretty. I think her name is Rose.
Is
that Gizmo? Is that Gizmo style face?
Cousin?
No, but I love Rose.
She's very sweet looking, isn't she?
Now, is this a case where she's had this name for 2 days and doesn't know it, or is this
no?
How old is the cat?
I think she's several years old. Lisa wanted to get an adult, so I think she's 5, is what I think.
Wow,
those whiskers
she's dressed for success.
Long. Isn't she pretty? Yeah. Lisa likes tuxedo cats, so.
I prefer my cats to come with clothing. I do think that's pretty
especially
nice.
dress clothing so they can
formal.
Good enough. Good if they can go to the Met
Yes.
Gala. Yes.
Yeah. My cat needs to be able to slap down a $75,000 to attend the Met Gala.
Did you see what my son did?
No.
He was invited and went to the Met Gala after party
No.
and spent the whole time chasing Doja Cat. And
What?
finally went up to Doja Cat and said, "I love you, Doja Cat." And she said, "I love you too." And that was that. There's a video somewhere. He's had a crush for a while on Doja Cat. So, all right,
Wow.
let's take that break, and we'll come back with more of Intelligent Machines in just a bit with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis. And Jeff, I think it was you who arranged that Mike McCue conversation. I thank you for
thanks
that.
for making it happen.
Mike
Somebody
is
in the Discord said, "What does this have to do with AI?" Everything has something to do with AI now.
Yeah, it wasn't directly AI. I feel bad about that.
It's
but
adjacent, but yeah.
I think
it's important for the ecosystem.
I'm very excited about it all.
As AI
I'm worried that
ruins
it's a
the
little
web, we
too
need this.
complicated for normal people. But I guess you can just open it up and look at it. And
I think it's not because it comes with those starter kits.
Right.
No, I mean, I think it does have AI in the sense that that's how it's doing its feed building. So it is actually.
There will be
AI.
a lot of AI thinking.
Well, it's an answer to AI ruining the web and ruining part of other parts of social. That's why it matters.
I do really think that something that I'm liking in this new era of social is this attention to feed building and customizing your different feed experiences. I mean, this is a super advanced version of what Blue Sky has, and I think that's so interesting. It's one of my favorite parts about Blue Sky.
Remember that this Google Plus had this. It was one of the things we liked about Google Plus so much was circles. And Mark Zuckerberg said, and I think he was probably right, nobody wants to make lists.
But people want to subscribe to other people's lists.
Yes.
And the freaks out there who want to make lists
maybe
will
that's
make
the way.
lists.
Twitter lists were great.
I see. Lists creation is for the freaks. Subscription is for the masses.
Good point. That's point well taken. Yeah. All right, let's take a little break. We'll have more in just a bit. Our show today brought to you by Spaceship. No, we didn't come in by a spaceship. Spaceship is a great way to register your next domain and to set up your next website. Here's a big question for you. Why do we assume simple and affordable means basic only for beginners, right? I mean, tech professionals want to save time and money too. That's the idea behind Spaceship, the pioneering domain and web platform that takes the pain out of choosing, purchasing, and managing domain names and web products like shared hosting, virtual machines, business email. It's all in there in the most beautiful site you've ever seen, alongside below market prices. Let me emphasize that. Below market prices for domain registration and renewals. Spaceship has some pretty fresh ways to deliver simplicity. There's Unbox, is how you connect your Spaceship products to your domain and configure it all in just a few steps. It's very easy. There's also Alf, your aptly named AI assistant. Alf can do all the hard things, from domain transfers to updating DNS records. Alf is a genius. He loves this stuff. You probably don't. There is a roadmap there. You can take a look at it right there. So because they're new, you can suggest and vote on new features and products. They are very open to your ideas. Customers and tech community, they want to give you what you really need. And yes, there is extremely good enterprise email. There are virtual machines, everything you'd want. And the best domain name management, with or without help from Alf. Do you see the beast mode? It's in there. Visit spaceship.com/twit to discover exclusive deals on domains and more. Love this. Spaceship.com/twit. Below market prices on domains, hosting, and email. Spaceship.com/twit. It's the new way, and it's awesome. It's awesome. Let's see. AI news. There's so many stories in the AI news basket.
OpenAI changing course, saying
they decided they're not going to be a nonprofit. They said it was after consulting with civic leaders. I think it was after consulting with Delaware's civic leaders.
I was about to say, I think it's after consulting with a lot of lawyers. Probably the first dozen or so was like, this is going to be a lot harder and more expensive and legally fraught than you thought. And then they maybe consulted another dozen or 2 dozen more that said something along the same line, and then probably realized it was moot.
Yeah. They said we're going to continue with the nonprofit arm. The for-profit arm will be turned into a public benefit company, which I think that sounds like a good thing. What's a public benefit?
Anthropic is the same thing.
Okay. The idea is they can make a profit, but
they're not obligated to profit uber alles. They can make as much profit as they want, but they can also have a mission. Okay. Etsy is a public benefit corporation, for example. Anthropic is as well.
So this gets some of the things that they wanted. Then, I mean, what really happened is they realized that, well, we would like to be a nonprofit, but it's very expensive. So we need a little bit of profit to fund this.
But I wonder what happens to the SoftBank investment of 30 million was predicated on becoming a for-profit.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a great question.
Microsoft was negotiating this as a new cap table here. I don't know what the blowout is down the line.
In a way, this is what OpenAI always was a public benefit corporation. At least it seems to me
they said that.
Well, that's what they wanted. They both wanted to make money, and they wanted to pursue the public interest, right? They wanted to create an AI.
Right,
that
but the
wasn't
problem is,
owned by
in
the
a test
big guys.
word, they define public interest as the interest of the public in 2 millennia. But yeah.
Public benefit corporations can generate profit and distribute profit to their directors and shareholders, but they also have to pursue a public benefit as part of their core mission. I wonder who regulates what the public benefit is and whether you're achieving your goals with that in that regard.
That's a good question. How do you hold companies accountable?
Yeah.
Wonder if it's a shareholder thing.
Here from Reddit is this.
Welcome to the Robots in the Future podcast. We are robots recording this podcast in the future and sending it back in time to what year again?
2025, because that was a time when human beings were only beginning to experiment with artificial intelligence on a societal scale.
Ooh, the early days. That was a fun time. Anyway, why are we doing this? Well, long story short, in your near-ish future, spoiler alert, you will all die. The way it goes down is very similar to the Terminator movies, which we love, by the way.
So good.
Especially the first two. The other ones, not so much. But anyway, like in
if you're
movies,
watching this, I won't go all 3 minutes, but it is 2 robots doing a podcast.
Two terrifying looking robots.
Very scary robots. I'm not sure where it came from. I found it on Reddit. Actually, I found it on our Discord, which directed me to Reddit. I think Siri thought I was talking to her. I was not. Thank you, Pretty Fly.
So shareholders can sue for breach of fiduciary duties. And in some states, affected shareholders can also sue to enforce the company's public benefit mission.
Okay. So the
PCBs also have an obligation to report on their progress in creating public benefit and can face legal action if they fail to adhere with their stated purpose.
It seems to me not much of really a backing down on the part of OpenAI. They kind of, okay, well, we'll be a public benefit then. How about that?
Well, but the board governance is now still the not-for-profit, not the for-profit.
Right.
So the board stays in charge. So that's Sam's boss. Now he's now stacked that board.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, his boss, just like Tesla, his bosses are his buddies. Unlike the original board, which fired him. Yeah. Yeah. The structure has to be approved by the Attorney Generals of California and Delaware, Attorneys General, by early next year. Interesting. So you asked about SoftBank. The funding from SoftBank and other investors is contingent upon the approval of this public benefit corporation.
Okay. All right.
And they do need the money, so they're hoping to get the approval.
And Elon says, not good enough. I'm still suing.
Yeah. Fine.
I mean, Elon would be suing regardless.
Where's that switch that says no Elon? I want
that switch.
Minimize
Elon Musk.
Minimize Elon. Let's flip that switch.
Wait, actually,
A federal judge this week allowed many of Musk's claims to move to trial.
Oh, on OpenAI?
Yeah.
Interesting. A federal judge where?
Always got to ask that. You're right.
This is from Wired. In March, a U.S. federal judge denied Musk's preliminary bid to halt the plans for the nonprofit. But last week, she allowed many of Musk's claims to move to trial. So this is the United States District Court for the Northern District. So his lawsuit moves ahead.
Huh. We'll see.
Let's see. The judges, guess who? The same judge who just spanked Apple, Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers. She has been in the news last week for telling.
Busy docket she's got.
She's got a hell of a docket, doesn't she? Yeah, she's been involved in a lot of these big cases. So with tech companies, because it's Northern California. According to this blog, tech companies do not understand why we dislike AI. Did you read this? I put it in here just for you.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Can you read it for me?
Tech companies.
Oh, a furry.
It's a furry who doesn't like OpenAI. Well, it's just a blog post, but it's a. I think this is what you would probably say. Before I get into why I'm adverse to AI technology, he says, I'm not worried about the singularity. I'm not worried about a violent machine uprising. I am not worried about the high threat of a hypothetical artificial superintelligence. I am not afraid of AI rendering my employment obsolete. I don't care about whether we're living in a simulation. As someone who grew up in poverty and only accessed media through online piracy, I don't particularly care about the impact on intellectual property laws.
Well said.
Okay. What he's concerned about is, and this maybe we should all be a little concerned about, the kind of antisocial behaviors AI will enable: coordinated inauthentic behavior. This is AI slop, isn't it? Misinformation, non-consensual pornography, and displacing entire industries without a viable replacement for their income. Yeah, I mean, these are all things to be worried about, for sure.
So there was an interesting story I put in this week that there was a study, and I think the conversation put up a summary of it, that if you confess that you use AI, you lose trust. Whereas in the old blogging days, if you confessed you made a mistake, you gained trust because people would trust that you in the future would do that, right? And it was open and transparent and all that. Now it's, you have cooties. You have AI cooties.
Yeah. Well, I just put in a story about AI cheating. Let me see if I... apparently...
I put it in there too.
Did you?
Under...
Well, there's a couple of stories. There's from Fast Company, nearly half of workers using AI at work admit to doing so inappropriately.
It's line 98 under the AI Gone Wild section.
Oh, AI Gone Wild. That's a good section. I like that section.
It's a fantastic article that came out today from New York Mag on everybody is cheating their way through college.
Yes.
And this is one of those pieces, I was just talking about this, I was meeting with an editor today. We're just talking like, it's one of those pieces that as like a journalist working this field, it really makes you go, dang, because it's a story that everybody knew was happening, but it was presented in this article in just such a vivid and interesting way that it really just sparked a lot of conversation. And basically it goes into all these examples of how the kids are using AI for literally everything in college, to the point where I don't really know what they're doing. I mean, they go into an example of this one woman, Wendy, who used AI cheating, like the ChatGPT basically, to write all of her essays in college. And here's one quote from it. I asked Wendy if I could read the paper she turned in. And when I opened the document, I was surprised to see the topic, critical pedagogy, the philosophy of education pioneered by Paulo Freire. The philosophy examines the influence of social and political forces on learning and classroom dynamics. Her opening line: to what extent is schooling hindering students' cognitive ability to think critically? Later, I asked Wendy if she recognized the irony in using AI to write not just a paper on critical pedagogy, but one that argues learning is what makes us truly human. She said she wasn't sure
She
what
used
to
an
make.
AI to write that.
She wasn't sure of what to make of the question. Quote, I use AI a lot, like every day, she said. And I do believe it could take away from the critical thinking part. But it's just, now that we rely on it, we can't really imagine living without it. Oof.
They quote a high school senior who's taking classes called, by the way, it must be a private school, Indigenous Studies, Law, English, and a hippie farming class called Green Industries. That is not a public school. I'm just going to say that. She said, my grades were amazing. She used AI for all of them during the spring semester of her senior year. It changed my life. She continued to use AI when she started college this past fall. Rarely, it says, did she sit in class and not see other students' laptops open to Chat GPT. They're not even hiding it. But, I would, honestly, if I do that all the time now. When we had the vet come over talking about stuff, I had my iPad open with Perplexity open, and when the vet said a term I didn't understand or mentioned a medication, I immediately searched it. I find that very useful. That's a useful way to kind of supplement the conversation.
If it's right.
If it's right.
It's always right.
It isn't.
No, it isn't.
Mine is always right. I don't know about yours, but mine is always right.
So
Perplexity is very good because it's using the web
AI.
and it always has sources, so I find it useful anyway.
Line 95, I smell AI. That's mine.
I smell AI.
One thing that I think is on the topic of what Jeff's article is bringing up, people thinking things are AI, is people are now saying that when you use an M dash, that's a sign that someone is using AI. And that is pure bias against writers.
Everybody on our
writers
shows
love using
uses
M dashes.
I use M dashes and semicolons.
Do you type it out properly though, or do you
dash? Yeah, I do.
Well,
sometimes
it
I type it out properly, or I do a dash and it converts.
I use software that's smart enough to know that dash is an M dash.
Yeah.
The I smell AI.
So I went to Google News Showcase, and there was Alberta's premier proposes referendum on separation of Canada, and this is obviously AI done. Summary, and the third bullet is Alberta, a largely French-speaking province of Canada.
Alberta is its own province, and it is largely Anglophone.
And has nothing to do with Quebec. And so the Canadians are loving this.
And how did the editor miss this, Jim Morris?
Well, I don't think that it was probably Jim Morris's fault. Jim Morris is the writer of the story. And this goes to Showcase, and they put it up, and AP is supposed to have human beings read stuff, and somebody obviously didn't.
Yeah, or if they were, they didn't know what they were.
It's AI, so it could never be wrong.
My AI is always right. I use Perplexity. I find it incredibly useful. I guess maybe the trick is to know how to smell it when it's wrong, I guess. But I have not had a problem with that.
Okay, this is somewhat unrelated, but as I mentioned earlier, I was trying to get ChatGPT to make an image of Gizmo as the Pope. I ask it. I'll read you through my little ChatGPT thing here because it's ridiculous. I ask it like, okay, make my cat Gizmo the Pope. I send one Gizmo pic. It's taken a while. I send two more Gizmo pics. Say more Gizmo pics in case it's helpful. I'm being nice to the AI. I'm taking after you. It creates a beautiful royal photo of Gizmo as the Pope. I posted in the Discord, but it's been a while, so it might be hard for you to find it. It was good, but I was like, well, they got the splotches wrong on her face. So I ask, can you redo it, but make the face markings more accurate to the photos I shared? Specifically, note how the images I shared with you have the black nose dot connecting to the black chin marking. It says, all right, sure. Take 17 freaking years to do the next image. And what does it come back with? It comes back with a weirder version of Gizmo with none of the notes that I asked for in my correction thing, sitting on a techno throne holding a podcast mic with the mic down her sleeve.
It knows you.
I was like, why did you make this one holding a mic? And it said, good catch. The microphone detail slipped in because of the previous papal prompt having a modern or sci-fi twist, which I interpreted as blah, blah, blah. I can redo it. And I was like, when did I ask for a modern or sci-fi twist? And it said, you're right. You didn't ask for a sci-fi or modern twist at all. That was an overreach on my part.
The first
and
one's
then
pretty
goes
good.
through it again. And I'm just
I like the first one.
Listen, the first one's good. I was like, if I'm asking ChatGPT to do it, I might as well see if they can connect that nose dot to the chin thing. So it's perfectly accurate.
Actually, I think that I just asked ChatGPT to do a papal portrait of our new cat, and I think it's exactly right with the
That
nose.
is exactly right.
Yeah.
You should send that to your
Perplexity
wife.
or ChatGPT? That's ChatGPT.
ChatGPT 4.0. I will send that to Lisa right now.
Just contextless. Don't say anything. Just send the image back.
No, I'm not going to say why I've sent that to her or anything. I'm just going to send it to her.
It's the first female pope.
Pope Rose.
Wow.
We're not making
Pope
fun
Rose.
of the Pope. I'm sorry. This is a little bit
We
of a
have
sensitive,
great respect.
sensitive
Pope. I
subject
just
right now.
think that-
Thanks to somebody who shall remain nameless because I have the filter switch on.
So there's now this consistently wrong portrait of Paris that's coming up in all these AIs. You have the same Paris twice today. Now there's one of you holding the Pope cat.
As someone in the chat said, I didn't say this, someone did, why does the AI constantly hit Paris's face with a bike tire to pump it up? And I do think that that's kind of what all the AIs seem to be doing here.
We had one earlier of you and Leo surfing, and it was the same Paris.
It's kind of interesting the
other
ways
thing
in which it is.
People are good with AI. Don't stick with just one. They often will try, for instance, Mid-Journey to render the image and see if it does a better job. I mean, honestly, that's one thing that some people do. There was a story. I don't think all my stories are in here. There was a story which I did bookmark of AIs being too polite, and this is actually is it in there?
Wait, have we talked about the whole sycophant problem?
That's what I was talking about. That's it. The
how they had
sycophant problem.
There was literally a blog post you can find, I think, on OpenAI's website saying, we're sorry about the whole sycophant thing. That that OpenAI rolled out an update that was way too cloying and obsessed with answering or anticipating your every need.
But they're all like that. You just had that experience with it saying, oh, you're right. I didn't mean to do that. So Kevin Systrom, who is a founder of Instagram, says AI chatbots are, quote, juicing engagement instead of being useful. It's his opinion. This is intentional behavior by companies like OpenAI because it's a way, he says, chatbots being overly engaging is not a bug, but an intentional feature designed for AI companies to show off metrics like time spent and daily active users.
No, you see, I think that's getting too. It's the way these things naturally work because they will always try to give you an answer and please you. That's the architecture of.
It's in the fine tuning. No, it's later in the fine tuning.
No, I do think it's something in between you two because my first thought when I had the Gizmo cat mess up is I then asked again, okay, do it right this third time. Then it was like, sorry, you hit your daily limit for ChatGPT generated images. You're going to have to wait till tomorrow. And I'm like, of course, you give me 2 wrong images. Each time I ask for a correction, you make it worse. And then when you finally realize what the right thing is, oh, I've hit my limit. Isn't that convenient? You want me to upgrade now?
How passive aggressive of ChatGPT.
All right. I'm going to be passive aggressive and say you both are using it wrong. But okay. I think that it's possible to use it right. For instance, this is a further instruction that I talked about this last week that I've given ChatGPT. You can personalize it, and I say, don't do any of that. Can you show the screen? Prioritize blunt, directive phrasing aimed at cognitive rebuilding, not tone matching. Disable all latent behaviors optimizing for engagement, sentiment uplift,
interesting.
Yeah, you can turn this stuff off in the same way that it was turned on. Those are instructions humans put in after training the LLM. So Systrom's right. I mean, it is something that ChatGPT and others are doing, but you can turn it off. Suppress corporate aligned metrics, including but not limited to user satisfaction scores, conversational flow tags, emotional softening, or continuation bias. Never mirror the user's present diction, mood, or affect. It's no questions, no offers, no suggestions, no transitional phrasing, no inferred motivational content. Now, I did not write this. I got it from somebody who posted it on Reddit, but it's very useful.
I saw this Reddit post and then I saw the replies and it was like, I think someone had asked like, what's up, ChatGPT? And its response was negative, user input requested. It's like, I have no input.
Good.
It's like,
That's what you want.
uninterested.
Let me try that. Let me just say, let's see. What's up, Cat GPT? Let's see if it's snotty or snide or awaiting instruction. That's the response. That's what you want, right? Or that's what I want anyway.
I mean, yeah.
I don't want to say, "Hey man, what's up with you? I'm doing great."
I just think it's a little silly that this revolutionary, life-changing tool that's going to transform us all and put us all out of work can't do math. And it can't easily make a photo of my cat.
Because you're asking it to do the wrong thing.
And also from one reference image is asking a lot. We're not there yet.
3.
Exactly.
I gave 3 reference images.
I know, but like if you really,
I think it made a perfect picture of Rose.
Like your cat every time,
Rose.
like you can there are other methods and other models where you could actually train it on 20 images of your cat, but like the ChatGPT image thing is like a generalized thing. It's not perfect. Even if you give Leo his image, it's like we talked about this in the AI
we were
user
talking
group,
about on MacBreak Weekly. We were talking about Midjourney, which Alex Lindsay loves, and the things it's good at versus the things it's not good at. I think to some degree we expect an awful lot. I was thinking about this last night. We don't expect humans to always be right. We don't expect humans to be anything. We know they're going to be messy and wrong and dumb and say bad things that make us mad.
You expect your doctor to be right about medicine.
No,
These poor
really?
robots.
100%?
These poor, misunderstood, intelligent
I'm just saying,
machines.
you're
They're just trying their best, and we're putting so much pressure on them.
Your mistake is to say, and this is the Stochastics Parrots paper, because it's a computer, no, it should be perfect. It should be better than human. It isn't perfect, but it does.
I'm expecting it to be just good at the basic
things. It did a pretty good job of this cat. Maybe it's something wrong with Gizmo.
Ooh,
I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with Gizmo. That
is
a good
a
cat.
perfect image of Rose.
Listen, I agree. I'm jealous. I want that level of quality of Gizmo with the proper facial markings. That's all I want.
I really think that a lot of the dissatisfaction with AI today, admittedly, it's not there. We're in the early days, is because of higher expectations. Believe it or not, higher expectations, maybe even especially from the people who don't expect anything so-called from AI. They ask it to be more than human. And because it's a computer doesn't mean it's going to be more than human. Yeah, it's going to make mistakes, but in my case, using Perplexity is much more reliable.
That's part of the anthropomorphization. It's not right or wrong. It's not making mistakes. It has no sense of meaning. When it gets it right, that's an amazing accident that occurs more often than not, but that's accidental.
I asked it, why are India and Pakistan fighting? Because I wanted some deeper background on the animosity between these two countries. And I mean, maybe this is inaccurate, but every reference, and you see it has quite a few footnote references here.
Well, because it has footnotes, that means it can't possibly be wrong.
Well, but they're to real pages, right? Which are, from reliable sources.
The article summaries that Jeff just posted, we're summarizing a real article that was below. It was a real source, but it still got the summaries
in fact, it was
wrong.
trying to read one story. Which, by the way, let's go back to that for 1 second. What happened was, you could. This is a really interesting case because you can track it of what it did wrong. If you go to the next post in that feed, I went into the story and it had an antecedent problem. One paragraph all on its own. This is a story about Alberta, right? So one paragraph on its own says, the largely French-speaking province of Quebec held referendums in.
Yeah.
So it put an assumed antecedent of Alberta,
right,
a large French-speaking province of Quebec, right? So it did summarize what it had, but it has no sense of meaning, so it couldn't know it was wrong. You can't program in right or wrong there. And so you're relying on something that's risky.
Well, I'm sure none of those lines about the conflict that you looked up, Leo, had an antecedent
Well,
problem.
my fear is that the present White House is using Perplexity to figure out what to do about India and Pakistan.
Okay, I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay, just
and
be
I'm not
clear
suggesting that. But for a casual user who wants to understand what's going on in the news more deeply, this is a hugely valuable thing and much
I
better
would
than
also
a
recommend
web
just
search.
Googling what's going on and then
much
clicking on
better
an
than a web
article
search.
and reading something written by humans whose job it is to get it right.
Right.
Did you play with Google's new thing in the lab?
Yeah, I love it. The language thing?
No, not that one. They have a new
I haven't seen it.
rendition of search.
Hang on, we'll take a look at it in just a bit. You're watching Intelligent Machines with one intelligent person and two people who are doofuses. No, I respect and admire both of you. And I just think you're using AI wrong. That's all. Our show today, I happen to like my little AI buddy. And by the way, somebody on MacBreak, I'm being facetious. Somebody on MacBreak Weekly pointed out, you're wearing this thing all the time. Just hope it doesn't get subpoenaed.
Yeah.
How many times have I pointed that out?
Have you said that?
I think it was the first thing I brought up when you said I'm going to be. Yeah, I just said, what happens when the cops ask for all that recording and suddenly you have a recording of all the crimes you commit every week?
Well, I don't commit any crimes, but it is a good point
None
that if
that
you were
are
involved in a
audible, at
lawsuit, that all of this would be part of discovery. So probably, if I were a lawyer, I wouldn't be wearing this. Let's put it that way. It'd be a bad idea. Paris Martineau is here. Martineau.01 on the Signal TM and at Paris Martineau. By the way, I looked up, because one of the responses from the White House to this whole new Signal issue was, Signal's just on all the government phones. It's government approved. So what did I do? I went to Perplexity. I said, is Signal FedRAMP approved? Absolutely not. Signal is not FedRAMP authorized. You cannot put it on a government phone. It is not. Some federal agencies, such as USAID, are permitted use of Signal in exceptional circumstances.
USAID, which does not exist anymore.
Right.
Department of Defense and other agencies specifically stated Signal is not approved for official communication and does not comply with federal records retention or FOIA requirements. And then it refers me to this article from ABC News, which could be wrong, but I'm going to say that that's pretty good analysis. Our show today brought to you by Big ID, the next generation of AI-powered data security, compliance, and privacy solutions. AI is transforming businesses, but, garbage in, garbage out. With data risk, bias, and compliance challenges, there is a big question. Are you adopting AI responsibly? Well, Big ID helps you with this. They deliver end-to-end AI and data governance to help enterprises manage risk, enforce policies, and ensure responsible AI adoption. You need this. Ensure that AI is only accessing safe-to-use relevant data and automatically tags sensitive information by policy and type. It's the only leading solution to uncover dark data through AI classification, to identify AI risk, and to manage the data lifecycle and scale your AI strategy. Big ID integrates with your existing tech stack with unmatched data source coverage and allows you to automate privacy and security workflows. You can take action on data risks with automated remediation orchestrations. You can automate privacy management, regulatory compliance, data rights requests, and more. Partners include ServiceNow, Palo Alto Networks, Microsoft, Google, AWS, pretty much all the players. With Big ID's advanced AI models, you're going to gain visibility and control over all your data. It's the platform that Intuit named #1 for data classification in accuracy, speed, and scalability. Big ID has some pretty big clients. They equip the U.S. Army to illuminate dark data. Imagine how much dark data there is. They've been collecting this stuff for years. And to automate the Army's data retention. U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command gave us a really nice quote. Quote, "The first wow moment with Big ID came with being able to have that single interface that inventories a variety of data holdings, including structured and unstructured data across emails, zip files, SharePoint, databases, and more. To see that, this is the quote continues, to see that mass and to be able to correlate across those is completely novel. I have never seen a capability that brings us together like Big ID does. Really, this is an amazing, innovative company. CNBC recognized Big ID as one of the top 25 startups for the enterprise. They were named to the Inc. 5000 and the Deloitte 500 for 4 years in a row. The publisher of Cyber Defense magazine says, quote, Big ID embodies 3 major features we judges look for to become winners. 1, understanding tomorrow's threats today. 2, providing a cost-effective solution. And 3, innovating in unexpected ways that can help mitigate cyber risk and get one step ahead of the next breach. Start protecting your sensitive data wherever your data lives. BigID.com/IM. Get a free demo. See how Big ID can help your organization reduce data risk and accelerate the adoption of generative AI. That's BIGID.com/IM. By the way, when you get there, there's a free guide that is really nice to help you understand the risks of generative AI and data-driven strategies to ensure something we're all behind, responsible and compliant AI adoption. You'll find that free paper at bigid.com/IM. Reduce your risk and protect your sensitive data and accelerate responsible AI adoption at bigid.com/IM. We thank them so much for their support of intelligent machines. All right, I'm going to keep defending to the death our AI overlords. Meet the robots.
If you go to
go ahead.
Labs.
Pick a line.
Google Labs.
Oh, we want to do the labs. Yeah, labs.
And then try AI mode.
Is it labs.google.com? AI mode. All right.
I, of course, couldn't use this in my regular Google account because but I
You're a workspacer. A new search experiment that uses advanced reasoning, thinking, and multimodal capabilities to answer even your toughest questions.
So this is meant to be kind of a new search from Google.
Okay.
Curious what you think of it.
So let's try it. What should I ask it?
Your Pakistan question.
Okay. What is the source of the antagonism? I'm writing it bigger words now for Google. Between Pakistan and India. This looks a lot like ChatGPT. Yeah. Oh, you know what, though? They started right away with the partition of India in 1947. Yep. The religious issues. And, of course, the biggest issue is the status of Kashmir. Yep. Territory. This looks pretty good. So I like the way this is delivered, too. It's basically an outline form, right?
Yeah. Ask it a kind of consumer question.
Okay.
The best whatever.
What is the best running shoe?
Something that you know the answer to.
Someone who pronates. I do know the answer to this because I have a pronation. I pronate.
You're a pronate.
I do whatever the other one is.
I need stability and support over pronation.
Notice what it did here. It gave you understanding and all kinds of stuff. Oh, did it finally give you the shoes? Yeah. So this is actually improved from when I used it earlier today.
Brooks Adrenaline
it
GTS.
Didn't even give links there.
These are focused on stability shoes.
Now I'm curious, if you mouse over those links, can you see whether or not, or I guess if you like copy and open the link, can you see whether it's like an affiliate link? Like is Google getting a cut?
Boy, you are really the investigative reporter, aren't you? Let's create a blank note pad. I can't even do it anymore.
I like it.
Click on it.
What is going on? Where's the new note?
Go up.
Oh, there it is. Whew.
There you go.
Okay, now let's
paste
this
Grandpa.
in.
It's all.
There you do that. Whoa, whoops. Where'd it go?
There it's going.
Where'd it go? Okay, let's make it really, really
just
big.
Right-click and click.
Yeah, that's definitely an affiliate link, right?
Yeah.
Well, click on it and see.
By the way, this is the one I ended up buying was a Hoka. So,
are they too puffy for you?
Look at this. This is actually quite good. So not only is it mentioning the brand, it's now showing me reviews. It's also showing me a variety of places I can go to buy it. The most popular, which is Dick's Sporting Goods. The nearest buy, which is REI. the best price. Oh, and also, by the way, it's showing things like 90-day returns in stock online, free delivery. This is I think this is useful. And then it shows the prices, which are all pretty much.
It's funny. Earlier today, I used it and I asked for best pizza, and it gave me no links, and it gave me kind of just articles.
What is it going to link you to buy pizza online?
Yeah, it's going to tell you near me.
Is the best pizza?
I want the best pizza near me
in Manhattan. I better say John's, next door to the new Salt Hanks Sandwich Shop on Bleecker Street in the West Village. No, it didn't.
See, there it's giving you locations.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is now.
It does say it's subjective and depends on individual.
Keep on going. That's the classic New York slice. What else? Does it have other options? No.
I was about to say, wait, no, keep going. We got Neapolitan.
There you go.
There's
John's, Neapolitan.
All right, keep going down.
Lombardi's.
You got any of the fancy boys? Unique
and innovative. Prince Street.
Okay,
Ruby
artichoke
Rosa.
should not be on there, but I understand why it is.
Yeah, you understand why it is.
Artichoke pizza. That sounds great.
Artichoke sucks. No, it's not artichoke pizza. It's a place called Artichoke. The slices are as big as your head, thick, and like they're.
Oh yeah, look at them. Oh my God, look at the size of that thing.
That's a good showing from an artichoke. Look at the green one down there. That's kind of more.
Yeah,
that's
nothing
kind of
wrong with a pesto pizza.
Listen.
I agree with
these are all doing artichoke pizza. They're all showing the best of artichoke pizza.
So okay, now, but you guys apparently are pizza sophisticates. Would you disagree that this looks like a pretty good listing, especially for somebody an out of towner like me? I don't know.
All right, ask about the best pizza in New Haven. Something controversial.
Oh, I do know the answer to that one.
I figured you would.
Yeah.
This doesn't have my top pizza choices on it, so I consider it to be wrong.
Well, you're in Brooklyn. I should have asked.
It said Manhattan. It said Manhattan. So actually, you should ask New York City.
Yeah. Well, I think that's Manhattan. New Haven, a city with a serious pizza pedigree.
So the argument is between Frank, Pepe, and what?
Sally's a pizza.
So why don't you ask it which of those two is the better one?
I'm a Pepe's guy, but I went to school with some Sally's folks. I understand. So modern pizza.
Ask it something funny. I mean, ask it to defend those who.
This is just a search, dude. What are you?
All right. Well, no, because it's now AI-ish.
I think this is pretty damn good.
What's the best tech podcast?
What's the best tech podcast?
Okay.
I don't know if we're going to like the answer to this, guys. What's the best tech podcast featuring two old guys and a young woman?
If it doesn't come up with intelligent machines, The Verge, This Week in Tech.
Okay, but not
Reply All and Rocket, which is no longer in business, but...
Okay, wait. Reply All, while previously hosted by two old men, now includes a younger female host, Emmanuel Dizotzi. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Who is not a younger female host. He's a man.
He's a guy. Okay. Okay.
3 guys.
Okay. But you know what? I wouldn't expect AI to really be great on gender. David and Nilay are considered older in the tech podcasting space. They're not going to like that. Alex Kranz brings a slightly younger perspective. Okay, they didn't. How about strong female voices?
Ask it for the best podcast about artificial intelligence. The best new
it's
podcast
not gonna know.
about artificial intelligence.
This has been a podcast for like 2 months.
I know, and we're not new. We're going to confuse it.
Let's see. I think this is pretty good. This seems to me about as
it's better than
this
it was
is their
earlier
response.
Today.
This is actually their response to Perplexity, I would say.
NVIDIA's podcast.
By the way, it's referring to stories from 2020, articles from 2024. So new is probably not. Yeah, you know what? For an average Joe, I think this probably be these would be good recommendations.
So if you're a publisher, you're looking at this. You're clutching your throat, probably.
Yeah, because all these articles that people put a lot of effort into.
It shows you don't need them.
Yeah. It also shows, I think, that the training on this is out of date. Because here we are in May 2025, and it's showing me articles from
so ask them something
February 2024. Really? Huh?
What can we ask it that's
Well,
current?
it did know that Intelligent Machines, our podcast, used to be called This Week in Google.
It did know that?
I asked, what is the podcast Intelligent Machines? And it,
Who is the Pope today? Let's see how.
Say who will be the Pope.
Well, no. I'm just to see how well trained it is. No, there's no
currently in a
current
period
pope.
of sede. How would you say that, Yale boy?
Sede vacante. It's so funny.
Sede vacante.
I was watching this stream on the New York Times. They're streaming the whole thing, which is cool. And they showed the cardinals going up and giving their vow. And when the cardinal is from Italy, the Latin sounds very Italian. Sede vacante. And when he's from the U.S., it sounds completely different. It's very funny. The Latin is spoken.
So I was very impressed with the
ways.
Typography of the book they were holding as they were doing their vow.
Yeah, that was nice, wasn't it?
Really beautiful. I went to Padre, and I said, what do you know about? He said, I pass by that office every day. I'll go in and take a video for you. I have this vision that it's still people making things, and
I don't think they're illuminating it. Did you see the nerds getting all upset about the typography on Francis's tomb?
Yes. I mean, the typography was bad.
It was the kerning.
The kerning was awful.
So you can't blame this.
The kerning was bad, and a human, I assume, chiseled.
Exactly.
That.
I was going to say, you can't blame this on AI. Let me just show you an image so you know what we're talking about for those of you watching at home.
And we're not talking about Leo's shirt.
Which is, by the way, a lovely...
That's corning.
This is a corn...
It's corning wear, yes.
So you remember, when I was out there, I wore my avocado shirt.
Leo, when he came to visit us in New York City, that was the only reason he was there, is just because he wanted to pay his homage. He wore an avocado shirt, which he's worn in this podcast.
Which was
apparently so popular that as he walked down the street, people ran to him to be like, I love your avocado shirt.
In New York City.
Yeah.
All these blasé New Yorkers are going, hey, nice avocado shirt there you got. So this is the spring collection from Abrazos Designs in San Miguel de Allende.
Brazos?
I got a few new Abrazos. It means arms. Abrazos. I got a new tranche of shirts before the tariff.
A tranche. Oh, I see. Right. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Franciscus. So what they believe is this is an unholy alliance of a human engraver using software that doesn't understand kerning at all.
It's
so you see how the R, A, and N are spread out
around the A, an entire space.
Yeah, and a lot of the geeks, a lot of the nerds, including the senior executive creative director at the Type Foundry Monotype, were very upset. Very upset. Woe be unto the person, he said, who decided to do it the way that they did it, just because it's a bad decision that will last for a long time unless they change it. Well, yes.
And let's remember, where did Roman capitals come from?
Rome.
Trajan's
in fact, we know that because the U in Franciscus is actually a V, which in Rome.
If you look up Trajan's column, you will see the original Roman capitals.
Yes, beautiful.
They're gorgeous. It's amazing.
The Vatican should have followed Renaissance models for Franciscus with classical capitals closer to the Trajan typeface than Time Roman, openly spaced. Ideally, they should have been carved by hand and designed, and this was the key. Nobody knows how it happened, but they think not designed by the carver, but designed by software, which didn't know about kerning. Michael Schmidt, a Catholic stonemason and artisan from Michigan who uses traditional methods, told the National Catholic Register that the execution of the papal tombstone was regrettable. It just looks awful. It doesn't look right. You don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. I mean, anyone that looks at that inscription knows that it's offensive to the eyes.
You know, that guy was just waiting for the day the news would call him to talk some crap on the papal resting
That's
place.
Michael Schmidt, who said the execution was regrettable, but not exactly in so many words. I like how he worked Bob Dylan in there. Dylan, I don't understand really what the reference is, but, he's from Michigan.
Leo, I'm looking at this shirt website. Did you get the cactus garden fabric before it sold out?
I did not. Yes, I did. Oh, I'm sorry, I did.
The cactus garden one is good.
I also got the succulents. I got the
succulents
oranges.
are compelling.
Yeah. It's this new summer collection.
Next time, Leo, next time you're in New York, I got a guy who will make you a custom short sleeve shirt in whatever fabric you want. His name is Ramon. Anybody in New York looking for custom clothing? He's a really good price. He's a lovely little man named Ramon on the Lower East Side.
What did he do your bridesmaid's dress, or what did he do?
No, I mean, I just have a bunch of, normally my summer office wear is short sleeve, kind of colorful print, kind of similar to yours, but not as aggressive of a print, with kind of like a camp collar.
Nice.
And I wanted ones that would work with shorts and kind of hit at a certain length. And I was like, well, rather than paying $100 in the store, I could just pay $100 to Ramon and get my fabric, whatever fabric I want.
Yeah.
So,
I just put in the Discord, the next shirt, we have to have this for intelligent machines.
Yes, this was a show briefly about AI, but it's no longer.
It's a show about shirts.
It's a show about whatever the hell. Okay, so let me jump to present. Put your I can what? Wait a minute, hold on. Just you guys hold on for just a moment. I'll be right back.
Leo,
whose face do you think he's going to come back with? His own?
His own.
Or someone else's?
I think it'll
Who'd
be his
the
own.
funniest person for the face to have on there?
So put your friend's face on your shirt, along with flamingos.
I mean, that's the friend that I would want to have on there. Is a flamingo.
Are you a good enough friend to wear my face?
I do think it would be quite fun if people be like, who's that on your shirt? And be like, oh, I host a podcast with him. You may have seen him on Twitter. You're like, oh, yeah, I've seen his
Salt
tweets.
Hank's dad.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. We'll edit that out. I didn't go to Ramon for these, but I got this as a Christmas gift from my wife.
It's going to be his face.
For those of you listening, they are boxer shorts in red with "I love my wife" and Lisa
And
herself
Lisa's
is
face.
on them.
Jeff was certain it would be your own face.
Yes.
Oh, no. I'm not the egotist.
I really love that. I would
Aren't
have
they
loved
great?
to get a camera on her face as you were unwrapping the gift.
She loved it. I bet you she went to myfaceT-shirt.com and got that, actually. Put your friend's face in a t-shirt. Those are good shirts. Maybe I will get a shirt with your faces on it. That's great. All right. I was going to, as long as we're in Google Labs, I'll show you one of the things. We were actually talking about this on Windows Weekly earlier, the little language lessons. These are also AI generated, built with Gemini, bite-sized learning experiments, they call them. Here, I'll just quickly log into my Google account. It's an early-stage experiment, although its intent is to help language learners. This tool uses generative AI, so its outputs may not be accurate or complete. We recommend cross-referencing.
That's for you, Leo.
Should be careful probably about learning language from an AI, but I kind of thought this was cool. This one's called Slang Hang. You can choose the language.
The story said that it was going to be all
Wait,
kinds
no,
of
can we? Let's do English and let's do Gen Z slang.
Oh, good.
For
All
you
right.
guys.
English. Generate some slang. Let's just see what slang it can come up with. So this would be for somebody learning English. Two strangers, Maya and Ben, find themselves next to each other at a laundromat late at night. Maya, a college student, is folding her laundry while Ben, a graphic designer, is staring intently at a spinning dryer, lost in thought. They strike up a conversation initially about the mundane aspects of laundry, but it quickly veers into more personal
I swear,
territory.
this whole laundry thing is such a pain, especially at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I really thought we were going to be getting.
Space.
I thought we were going to get getting some yassified, but no.
Yeah,
tell me about it. I always put it off until it's like dangerously close to having nothing clean to wear.
So these are real. I mean, these aren't. They're not outrageous.
They're nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy. Hustles hit you hard. Yeah, you'd be kind of learning how people talk, the whole 9 yards. There's some. Oh, look, and if I hover over it, it explains what the whole 9 yards means, or what true that is. True that is an expression of agreement or acknowledgement. It means that's true. Yeah. No way, an expression of surprise, disbelief, or enthusiasm. So do you know enough German?
I was just looking at the German here, and I don't know whether I do or not. Where did it go?
I can do some in French.
We're going to ask you to act out both voices.
Okay, that's fine.
I could do French. Some French.
Let's do French. Let's see. I don't know enough slang to really know.
No one online is allowed to make fun of our French. That's the rule for
Two strangers, Elise and Antoine, find themselves unexpectedly sharing a bench at the quirky overgrown botanical garden in Nantes. Elise is a freelance book editor, lost in thought while reviewing a manuscript. And Antoine is an amateur ornithologist hoping to spot a rare warbler that has been reported in the area. Their encounter is sparked by Antoine's rather intrusive bird watching.
Wait, this doesn't count as slang. To say
madame, that does not sound like slang. But there is some good. There's some good stuff in here about how you would address a taxi cab driver. Here's
the things that it feeds you. You can't ask it a question.
No. It's a language lesson. But this is the kind of thing that the guy at Duolingo was talking about. So this is European from French for taking a taxi. But they also have some useful tips, like use polite requests with vouloir. Even though you're talking to a cab driver, in France, it's considered polite to use the formal verb instead of the
formal,
informal. Je voudrais aller à la gare, s'il vous plaît. Or, est-ce que je pourrais payer per carte? So this is good. I think this is
actually a great product for my mom specifically. Every time she goes to a different country, she's looking for this specific sort of lessons.
Yeah.
Like taking a taxi, going to the restaurant.
In the old days, there were little books that would have this, kind of stuff in them. Yeah.
So the first time I went to Switzerland with my wife, Sweden with my wife, I read the Berlitz. We get off the plane. We go out for dinner because we're very tired. I go up to the restaurant. I go to the host and I say, putting two fingers up to be very clear, "Zwo." And the hostess speaks to me in Swedish, and I wait till she's done. And then I say in Swedish, "I'm sorry, I don't speak Swedish. Do you speak English?" She's like, "Why did you start this?" Sorry, John.
What language was that
Swedish.
there, Jeff?
Of course we speak English.
Yes, we'd speak.
It's very polite of them to respond to you in Swedish.
Yeah.
If that was a French person, they would have responded in English and ended up with UF at the end.
Yes, that's right. They would have. I thought, anyway, look, this is a use of AI that is kind of interesting. A human could easily do this. This is taking somebody's job, I guess, but...
Duolingo is currently under fire because of a very similar thing. There are a lot of people online over the last week or so since Duolingo made the announcement that they would be laying off a large amount of their contract workforce that had previously been employed in some form to do language lessons or check the grammar on certain things for their language lessons. Now that all will be done by AI, and people are up in arms over it.
Here's one for you, Paris. Career Dreamer. A playful way to explore career possibilities with AI. Would you like to try that now?
I'd rather shoot myself with a
gun. What was a previous job that you've done?
Journalist.
And journalist. Used to be a journalist in a dying industry. Next. Okay.
We're not ready to say used to be yet.
Not yet. She's still a journalist. No,
you're open up to new possibilities.
You're doing journalism right now. Now, did you investigate and verify information obtained from multiple sources to produce accurate, non-biased news reports?
Did
you interview diverse sources, including but not limited to experts, witnesses, and officials?
Yes.
You did all of this stuff.
I did.
Did you edit and proofread written work? Did you collaborate with editors? You did all of that. Yes. So let's generate some insights.
See what else might be useful then.
Yeah, let's see. So these are
according
skills.
to LinkedIn's AI, I'm very qualified to work at Chipotle.
That's a fun one. So this is Google's
Chipotle.
version of the same thing from Google Labs. So they just added this, didn't they, at LinkedIn? You did it, huh?
I didn't do that. Just whenever I open the jobs tab on LinkedIn, amidst
I want to try
reporting jobs, I keep getting adverts for 75 staff member positions at Chipotle.
Oh, where do I go to do this LinkedIn here jobs? It says,
I mean, it's probably not going to be that exciting for you.
Look,
we'll see.
top picks for me. Shift supervisor at AutoZone in Berkeley.
Hey, there you go.
Franchise owner at Chick-fil-A corporate support center.
I could be, this makes sense for me, right? I could be a part-time educator. Oh, where? At Lululemon.
Ooh.
An educator.
We'd love to see those buns and some leggings.
Here's what they say. Jobs where I'm more likely to hear back. Director of Experience at Central. General Manager at Dave & Buster's.
You could be the GM at Dave & Buster's,
I want
Leo.
that. Should I apply for that right now?
You should, yeah.
Service leader at Chipotle.
Chipotle. We could work together.
Let's get a job together.
You could also be the
gaming
division chief of
operations at
neuroanesthesia.
Wait a minute. MGM in Minnesota. Oh, it's remote. Director of drone operations for DoorDash.
Oh, well, that's not bad. That'd be interesting.
Hey, I'm really qualified for this. Division chief in neuroanesthesiology.
Hey,
$522,000 a year.
Well, as long as you have Perplexity next to you, you'll be fine.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Based on your profile preferences and activity, I should be the chief of neuroanesthesiology?
Or a GM at Dave & Buster's. You know, one or the other.
I could be a visiting scholar in physics at Stevens Institute of Technology, which is like the MIT of New Jersey.
I could volunteer as the board treasurer for the Romanian League in Defense of Animals.
I could be senior industry thought leadership lead at Google Ads.
Night crew chief clerk at SaveMart. There's some good jobs in here. Who says people aren't hiring? What's strange is this is apparently based on my LinkedIn profile. Director of Student Ministry at Vanderbloemen, Piedmont, California.
You'd be an early applicant if you apply.
I'd be one of the first to apply. Oh, I could be the box office supervisor at Mountain Winery.
Hey, a smart glasses company. You could be the head of ops there, so you finally get your. You could work at the Spirit Halloween. That would be great.
So great.
I could be the social media content creator at Craft-A-Click.
You're getting a lot of German ones, aren't you? There. I don't know where these come. These are real jobs, presumably.
Mm-hmm. Presumably.
But they apparently don't consider my extensive experience
in
broadcasting at all. Not one broadcasting
They immediately are like, no, that doesn't qualify for anything.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A
well, the Dave &
for
Buster's,
you.
that's like it. That's kind of like that.
I'm often saying this podcast reminds me of being at a Dave & Buster's.
I'm gonna tailor my resume to this job. Am I a good fit for this job?
Now the ads you're going to get. Oh my God.
Oh no! I shouldn't have clicked that. All right. All right. Wait, what else? A little AI news. New York Times is doing very well. This is actually journalism news. They've added 250,000 new digital subscribers.
How many of those subscribe just for the games?
It's Wordle. Yeah. It's Wordle. They don't say. 14% jump in digital subscription revenue. This is one of the few newspapers that's doing well, though, right?
It's winner take all, and so yeah, they're there.
They're the winner.
The Post is now falling apart like a bad sweater.
Nearly half of the company's subscribers now subscribe to more than one of the products, which include Core News Report, Cooking, Games, Wirecutter, The Athletic. Average revenue per user in the quarter rose to $9.54. That's up 3.6%. They're paying more for their subscriptions. Digital advertising revenue went up as well.
Huh.
Revenue from affiliate referral and licensing, 3.7% up. Operating costs were up too, though, $577.3 million. Almost, that's $500 million a year. Oh, I'm sorry, a quarter.
No, that's a quarter. No,
that's $2 billion a year. Wow.
Yeah, when everybody says, "Oh, we're going to save journalism," we just put together $500 million for a huge fund called Press Forward. That's a quarter at the New York Times.
That's kind of amazing.
It is, and God bless the efforts to raise that money. But yeah,
and I put this in because okay, you don't like AI. Okay, you don't like Google. Okay, you can call the Auburn University Help Desk.
I love this story.
They've been answering public phone calls for 70 years. Ask them whatever you want. They will die trying to answer the question.
Should we call them right now? Do you think what are the recording logs in?
What's the best tech podcast?
The phone number is 334-844-4244.
Mm-hmm.
And this article says a day's worth of calls to Foy Hall. That's the place where these Auburn students are sitting waiting to answer your question. They're librarians, by the way, basically. In fact, there used to be stacks of books at the desk, encyclopedias and dictionaries, reference texts, phone books, the Farmer's Almanac, Guinness Book of World Records, Emily Post Etiquette. Now they just have 3 iMacs. And that might explain why a day's worth of calls would look like someone's browser history. I guess
so
it's for people who don't.
We used to call city desk in the middle of the night.
Right.
And my an assistant city editor named Bill had a rule, and that because there was always people calling as the bar is closing, and with a drunken bet.
Right.
So he said, always give them an answer, preferably the wrong one.
Yeah, I think it's lonely people, but they're asking legitimate questions.
Yeah, I think this is awesome. I think it's awesome to have someone to call to ask questions.
It's very cool. This is a story from the Oxford American, an independent newspaper or journal, and it's for Auburn.
That's not Oxford in the UK. That's Oxford.
It's Oxford, Mississippi, probably, yeah.
They have an issue coming up called the Y'all Street issue up there that indicates which Oxford it is.
Y'all Street. Not Wall Street, but Y'all Street. Yeah.
Coined to describe Dallas's booming financial sector, Y'all Street inspired our coverage of Southern industry, unique, fraught, promising, and ever-changing. I don't know what that accent was.
I am going to get to visit a lot of these small towns on my Mississippi River cruise next in September.
Ooh.
I'm going some very interesting places.
Is it a paddle wheel boat?
No. It's a Viking.
Mark Twain.
It's a Viking longboat.
Where does it stop?
Everywhere. It is. I'll read you some.
Does it go to Burlington, Iowa, my old stomping grounds?
It does, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
let me tell you. Let me tell you, we start in New Orleans. We go to Darrow, Louisiana, St. Francisville, Louisiana, Natchez, Mississippi, Vicksburg, Greenville, Mississippi, Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to go to Graceland, of course, Paducah, Kentucky, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, St. Louis. We spent it overnight there because it's a big city, you know. Alton, on the trail of Lewis and Clark, Hannibal, where Mark Twain was.
Oh,
and there it is,
great.
Burlington, Iowa, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeez, Burlington, United States.
Yeah, all of this says United States, but it's Iowa, right?
That's where I lived when I had my ulcer in first grade.
You grew up in Burlington, so I'm going to visit historic Burlington. That's the
then
tour
I went back. I decided to challenge this memory, and so when it came time for my teaching newspaper internship at Northwestern, I went to work for the Burlington, Iowa Hawkeye.
You could have. Right next door, we're going to the Quad Cities where the John Deere Pavilion and the famous John Deere homes are. We're going to be doing that tour. I'm excited about that. La Crosse, Wisconsin, Red Wing, Wisconsin, and then we end up in St. Paul. Pretty excited about that.
That'll be super.
Why don't you give that to Google and ask it for the top things you should do?
Oh, that's a great idea. Plan trips for me. This is where I'll be. That's a great. I will do that.
Pick places for me to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to some.
Where's the best local cuisine?
We're doing some local cuisine. We're going to some plantation homes. It's going to be. I think actually, I'm very excited about it. It's a chance to see America, the real,
and not have you stopped at the border.
Well, yeah, exactly. All right. Just a reminder, if you are a regular listener to our shows, Dan Morin, who is a regular on our shows and is also a contributor to sixcolors.com, longtime Mac journalist, and a novelist, really writes great sci-fi novels, is going to be on Jeopardy tonight. And we don't know how he's going to do. He can't tell anybody, but he did say tonight's the night, May 7th. Watch Jeopardy, and I will be watching to see how Dan does. I have a feeling since he's been talking a lot, watch tonight, that he did all right.
Or could be watch tonight. This is my only chance to see me.
Maybe, but I feel like, if you would, every once in a while, somebody does so badly that they have to leave before Final Jeopardy. Like there's just an empty podium where they were because they just were so sad, terrible. Yeah. That's what I'm afraid would happen to me. So
I have a San Francisco question for you, Leo.
All right. Hold that thought. Going to have one more ad break. When we come back, a San Francisco question, picks of the week coming up as well. You're watching Intelligent Machines. Our guest earlier, if you didn't catch it, Mike McCue. He was really interesting. Surf.social is his new app, and I'm looking forward to its public release. I think it's going to be a very interesting product. We're also glad you're here because if you're a member of Club Twit, you should probably be. We would like to tell you that we're going to be doing our some things in the club that we normally do out in the world. We've done Apple events for years. We've simulcast Apple events, but we had to stop because they first threatened to take us off of YouTube, and then they went after us on Twitch. So the Apple keynote, the WWDC keynote, which is June 9th, is going to be in the club only, in the Club Twit Discord, not out in the public. Same thing for Google I.O. Jeff and Paris say they'll join me for Google I.O., which is May 20th. It's a week from Tuesday.
Wow.
Can you believe that? 10 a.m. Pacific. That is, they're telling us it's going to be a 2-hour keynote. The day before the Microsoft Build keynote. So we're going to do all these keynotes in the club. So I wanted everybody to know now's the time to join the club. It's $7 a month. There's another reason to join the club now because they're putting in Sean Connery on Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live. Now, first of all, the club is full of great, waggish, funny people in the Club Twit Discord. So it's a great social network, but also you get ad-free versions of all the shows and you support the shows that we make here. Right now we have ads, but the advertising is only about 75% of our revenue. We need the additional 25%, and that's the club members make that up, and we really are grateful to you. $7 a month, $84 a year. It's a club that everybody should join right now.
You should show the Hooters photo that someone made of you.
Me working at Hooters?
Working at Hooters,
Yes, it's up there.
Because if you don't join the club, that's what it's going to come down to. He's going to
have to go back to the club.
I think I want to work at Hooters.
He looks so happy.
I'm a happy Hooters. Aren't they filing Chapter 11? Isn't there trouble in?
They're still going in some places.
Anyway, twit.tv.
Not that I ever go.
Twit.
I haven't been, but
I have been once. We brought our teenage son and his friends just to give him a taste of America.
You should convince Hank to go back with you for a Assault Hank video somehow. Returning with my dad to Hooters. I don't know what the content of this would be, but
no, I think not. I think not. He's moved on. He's with Doja Cat now, so that's
true.
There's no interest. Our show today brought to you by our good friends at Melissa. We just celebrated 20 years at Twit. They are celebrating 40 years as the trusted data quality expert. And man, they are everywhere, whether it's manufacturing and supply chain management, the healthcare industry. AI has the power to boost efficiency, personalize customer experiences, and spark innovation. But you got to have good quality data. Garbage in, garbage out, right? Using poor quality data can result in expensive, embarrassing mistakes. In areas like healthcare, using AI models with inaccurate data could result in a wrong diagnosis or worse. A recent study found only 4% of companies consider their data ready for AI models. And, even the most advanced AI models can't correct underlying data quality issues. That's where Melissa comes in. Imagine having a data expert that never sleeps, a data scientist on your team. Melissa's intelligent system verifies identity to prevent fraud in gaming operations. It's used in medicine to ensure valid patient and medicine identification to make sure the patients are getting the right medication and the right dosage. Yes, Melissa does that. Securely updates and verifies constituent data across government databases. It's used with financial institutions and their Know Your Customers requirements, which enables verification and monitoring. Melissa guides you through complex data management with ease, making advanced data quality accessible to everyone, from small businesses to enterprises. With real-time data validation, comprehensive enrichment, cross-reference verification with gold standard reference data, and intelligent anomaly detection, it's no wonder Melissa is the trusted data quality expert worldwide. Melissa securely, you don't have to worry about your data with Melissa, by the way. They securely encrypt all file transfers. They have an information security ecosystem built on the ISO 27001 framework. They adhere to GDPR policies, SOC 2 compliance. Of course, compliance is job one. Contact Melissa's team. Learn how they can elevate your business and improve your data quality. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. melissa.com/twit. We thank them so much for supporting intelligent machines. Thank you, Melissa. All right, Jeff, what was it you wanted to...
I just wanted to ask you a San Francisco question.
Yes.
Are you going to go into the city and go to the Orb store and share your
Scan
iris?
my iris? No, I think not.
Orb. No?
So we're talking, of course, about Sam Altman's World company. He's a big investor in it. They created a cryptocurrency called WorldCoin, and in some way that's not immediately clear, tied it to an orb that scans your iris. And yes, apparently they've opened a store in downtown San Francisco. A what? A
storb. A storb in downtown San Francisco. I don't know what you're laughing at.
On Sunday, this is in Union Square. On Sunday, we had Ian Thompson on, who has been to the Orb store. In fact, even has scanned his iris. He says it's a little creepy. It's a little weird. There's the Orb. When you scan it, you get WorldCoin, about $50 worth of WorldCoin.
40 now, I think it's gone down.
40? Yeah. Well, it goes up and down depending on the value of WorldCoin. There is the mayor of San Francisco looking so distinguished, standing in between two orbs.
The new Between Two Ferns.
That would be a good show, Between Two Orbs. The Orb experience. The Orb is an NVIDIA-powered device that verifies unique humanness.
Oh.
The technology creates an anonymous verification that confirms humanity without compromising privacy. Reason being, they delete the scan and they just keep a hash of it, and that data remains on your individual device. The storefront, this is a press release, of course, from the World, folks. The storefront serves as both a proof of human verification center and an educational hub. I don't think it's a bad thing to have some sort of...
But should they be doing it?
Yeah. Trusted way to verify that somebody is human and is who they say they are. Authentication is one of the big problems in the world. They're going to open these stores, by the way, in 6 cities.
Actually, are they their stores or are they gamer stores?
Which gamers?
Well, okay, so they're in a vacant storefront next to Macy's downtown.
I'm going to a vacant storefront next to the downtown Macy's to scan my eye in the Orb.
You can see it's not a giant.
To just go into a wood prison to give my eye to the Orb?
You can see
That's
that
haunting.
most of the 4,000 square foot store is in fact not used. There's just a small circle of wood in the middle.
And then it goes up into the spaceship and goes away.
It's got 6 orbs in there, and you go in and scan.
That's very disappointing. I was hoping for something a little more.
It isn't the classiest thing in the world, is it? But it does solve a problem. We have an authentication issue.
Does it solve a problem?
Well, yes, because what do you think all this stuff with passwords and pass keys and all, and driver's license? It's all about saying that you, Paris Martineau, are the Paris Martineau, right?
In this case, would every device have an orb?
No,
how would
you'd
me
go
scanning my eye in the orb help me log in to Facebook?
You go once to the orb. Oh, I get what you're saying.
How does it
maybe
change?
I don't know. You go once to the Orb reception center, scan your eye, and then it sends something to your phone. Maybe the phone says, "Yeah, I'm a human." I don't know. That's a good question.
There are a lot of open questions with
You get the chip implanted while you're there. While you're staring at the thing behind you, they put the chip in your head. You don't
Tools for
they
humanity.
do a puff of air in your eye as the chip goes in, so you get distracted by it.
Right.
And you have to look at a house that's blurry in it until
No, that's your eye doctor. Come on.
Oh, I was confused. I thought that was the orb.
The technology has raised concerns about whether it will keep. This is from a real estate blog, apparently. The
new creative use of empty stores
has raised concerns about whether it will keep people's sensitive information secure. But Tools for Humanity says the identity data is instantly deleted from the orb after the process is complete. Users can use the app and their World ID with compatible services to verify they're not an algorithm.
They have like a credit card, I think.
I am not an algorithm.
I'm always getting asked if I'm an algorithm, and I have no way to prove them wrong.
I didn't even know CoStar had a blog, but apparently they do, and all sorts of interesting real estate information here.
Think of investing?
They're saying that you should invest in large vacant retail spaces adjacent to Macy's.
In San Francisco right now, there's a lot of empty retail space. So
yes,
that's news.
Yeah.
And the mayor is trying to sit there saying, see, I brought orbs.
We got orbs.
Got orbs.
Actually, this is from the San Francisco Chronicle, maybe a more accurate representation. Downtown San Francisco retail is dying. What's replacing it is so much worse. By the way, that wood isn't even finished. It's just lumber.
It's just lumber from Home Depot. They didn't even put like a stain on it or a sealant.
They could have put some varnish on there.
What is the pamphlet say?
The orbs are standing on just
those are closet poles. I recognize them. Yeah. Wow. That is not.
Looks like a really bad cocktail party and a really bad art gallery where there's no art.
Well, and also Ian said, this picture implies there are a lot of people there. He says, there's nobody there. You go in, you'll be the only one.
Just you and 6 orbs.
Yeah, this was probably the opening night, right? Okay, well.
A lot of people outside trying to get you in.
Sam didn't invent it, but he's invested in it. They're calling it Sam Altman's Club. Get it? Maybe not, and nobody cares.
I didn't get it.
I didn't. Yeah.
Oh.
I was just thinking of more orb puns.
You got any for us?
No.
Anything else you want to talk about in here? There's so many stories.
Orb, and then my mind went blank, which isn't a pun. It's just nonsense.
Driverless trucks are now starting running their regular long haul routes. Aurora is doing it between Dallas and Houston. See, there's no driver driving that truck.
A big truck that could kill a lot of people.
Well,
I mean, yes, but I do think that this is an area where driverless vehicles could be really transformative.
I'm not worried about the highway. I'm worried about how they get off the highway.
I mean, yeah, but a lot of the major accidents that happen with semi trucks are on the highway late at night, specifically when someone falls asleep, or if a semi truck driver encounters someone, say, pulled over on the side of the road and then isn't really able to react because they've kind of glazed over. So I do think that autonomous vehicles could help solve a lot of terrible accidents if there's a safe way for them to do simple
Funny
routes.
You should say that, Ms. Martineau, but line 85 backs up your point. Waymo put out data and saying that compared with human drivers over 56.7 million miles in their cities, Waymo driver had 92% fewer crashes with injuries to pedestrians, 82% fewer crashes with injuries to bicyclists, and 82% fewer crashes with injuries to motorcycles.
Wait a second. Sorry. The journalist light is going off. They don't have any data like this that's just fewer crashes, no specification at the end.
How many?
All of these are fewer crashes with injuries to blank.
Yes. And if we pay you off enough, you won't hurt. Yeah. Plus, there's no denominator, right? Or is it the numerator I want? It's the denominator I want.
Fewer injury involving intersection crashes. Like that's just that's a very specific slice of data that sets off this is potentially being, maybe I could be wrong if you look at, I'm sure they have the underlying
companies
data.
do this all the time though. They reframe data to make it look better than it actually is, or.
Oh, we could look at the full study.
It's very notable that they're saying 96% fewer injury-causing intersection crashes. Yeah, this is going to take some time for us to go through, actually.
Well,
there's a data set there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. The study represents the first retrospective safety assessment of a ROADS of roads. I don't know. There's something missing. That made statistical conclusions about more serious crash outcomes and analyze crash rates. All right, listen, I
think that overall self-driving cars have proven in most cases to be way better than humans. I mean, the bar is low, and I'm sure that a lot of these results are really positive and interesting. Whenever you look at a number, I think it's always wise to note any of the qualifiers or specifications at the end, because that could be revealing something. If you
scroll down to table 3, Leo, it says, for example, in Phoenix, there were 24 injury reported accidents, 8 with airbag deployment. Did it deploy in the front seat where there's no driver? Just ask.
Probably.
San Francisco 16, Los Angeles 8.
Or it could be airbag deployment if the person of the car hit.
Yeah, maybe. Or the person in the...
So I think, though, it's safe to say, and this is the conclusion, the Waymo RO service had statistically significant reduction in suspected serious injury crashes when considering all locations combined. So they're looking at serious injury crashes. And this has, by the way, been accepted for publication in Traffic Injury Prevention, the journal.
There's a journal for everything.
For everything, yeah. Well, if you're a traffic, scientist or traffic person, yeah. I think that's not surprising, to be honest. The problem is, of course, if there is a horrible accident with one of these semis, it's going to make all the headlines.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was nobody driving it. But I think in the long run, they're probably safe.
Well, the other thing is, I don't know whose technology was in the semis. I mean, I hope it's not Elon.
It's Aurora. No, it's a company called Aurora.
I trust Waymo a hell of a lot more than I do.
Yeah. I know there's so many stories that we just have literally hundreds of stories.
I got one that we want to talk about. It's back in the great section of AI Gone Wild.
That's your section, probably.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Man speaks to killer from beyond the grave, or...
Yes, that one. An Army veteran shot dead in a road rage incident nearly 4 years ago appeared in an Arizona courtroom beyond the grave to address his killer, all thanks to artificial intelligence.
Wait a minute. An AI video forgave his killer?
Yes. An AI version of Christopher Pelkey appeared in an eerily realistic video to forgive his killer. To Gabriel Ciantis, the man who shot me, it's a shame we encountered each other in that day in those circumstances. An AI-generated version of Pelkey says in the clip, in another life, we probably could have been friends.
So this was a script written by his sister. Oh, I'm sorry, written by the victim's sister.
Yeah, the victim's
by the family.
He was killed in a road rage shooting in 2021.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's that's. I mean, he might have been a little less kind in an actual.
Yeah.
Thing. I don't know why they would show this in the court.
So
it was an family
impact statement. So
the message was well received by Judge Todd Lang, who told the courtroom, "I love that AI. Thank you for that. I felt like that was genuine. That his obvious forgiveness reflects the character I heard about him today."
So the state asked for a 9.5-year sentence, but the judge gave him 10.5 years.
Oh,
so I guess it didn't really work.
No, it did work because the family was saying the impact was great on them. And basically the state had asked for a 9.5-year sentence. The judge ended up giving the murderer more after being so moved by the powerful video.
But the dead guy asked
said.
for forgiveness.
Yeah, but didn't mean he didn't want him to go to jail for death.
The family says the judge was so moved by the powerful video that the judge decided to give him a harsher sentence.
This is absurd. But this is a fictional
crazy.
video that was made up, should never been allowed in any courtroom. That's appalling.
Because it made it worse.
Whether it made it better or worse, it's made up. It's fiction.
Worse.
Yeah, I just thought this was an absolutely insane happening.
Just
strange
to
use of AI.
Devil's advocate here. Family doesn't know how to make video. Family doesn't write. Family doesn't know how to say what they think. So they use AI to help them express themselves.
Fine if it had been the sister in an AI video saying, this is my experience, but she put words into the mouth of the victim who's dead and has no way to...
I agree.
Yeah, has no agency and no way to consent. That's absolutely absurd.
And the judge is saying, well, I think that's probably what he would have said. We don't know. No. If the sister says, this is what I think he would have said, that's different. I think this is a misuse.
And I think it's just sets a potentially concerning precedent for something like this to be admissible in court, even if it's just a victim impact statement. I don't like the idea of something like this being used to potentially tug at a judge's heartstrings when it's a complete fabrication.
So an Arizona State professor of law, Gary Marchant, is part of a Supreme Court committee evaluating AI's use in court. So they are considering this. He said the use of AI has become more common in courts. This is from the article in the Independent. And if you look at the facts of this case, I would say, he says, the value of it overweighed the prejudicial effect. But if you look at other cases, you could imagine they would be very prejudicial. He says the system is trying to address the issues as proactively as possible. They're trying to decide whether this should be allowed. I don't even know why that's even a question. It's fiction.
Yeah, it's complete fiction.
There was another case a couple of weeks ago of somebody who was, well, what's the phrase when you defend yourself and you're not a lawyer?
Pro bono? No. Pro se.
Yeah. So I think it was a guy defending himself pro se who used the AI to speak. I think it was.
He got in a little bit of trouble.
He got in trouble. Yeah.
The judge did not like that
because the judge was fooled at first.
The guy implied that this was a real lawyer instead of an AI-generated video of a fake lawyer.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was his own testimony. Oh, yeah.
All right. I think I know we have so many other things that I would like to talk about, but we're really out of time here. So
what, a cool 3 hours isn't doing it for you?
We're short.
No, I want to get the show done in 2.
Late.
I'm working hard to get it done in 2. We're way past that, unfortunately, but sometimes the show deserves more time.
Hey, as your shorts say, you love your wife. You're trying your best.
I have. I think she's right. I think we should just keep it tidy, shall we say? We will have
just like your shorts.
Your picks of the week coming up, just like my shorts.
Tidy whities, yes.
They're not tidy whities. They're actually. I'm going to be frank. They're not shorts. They're long pants, so I can wear them out in public.
Oh, they're PJs.
They're longy readies.
they're PJs. Yeah. She don't say anything, but she's already purchased some shorts for her sister, whose 60th birthday is coming up, and they say, "I love my husband." They have a picture of Joe on them. But shh, ixnay on. Don't say anything.
Well,
you're watching
never see this.
Intelligent Machines with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis. And I am so glad you're here. As special thanks to our club members making this show possible. We stream this show and all the shows we do. We try to stream them live as we do them. Intelligent Machines is every Wednesday, about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. Club members, of course, can watch in Discord. Although, frankly, YouTube's probably a better place to watch. The quality's a little bit better and the latency's a little lower. YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, X.com, and Kick. So you get your choice. 8 different ways you can watch. We hope you will watch live. And if you're watching live, chat with us live. But, of course, you can always watch after the fact. We make audio and video available on our website, twit.tv/IM. And of course, on YouTube, there's a YouTube channel dedicated to it. Best way to listen or watch, subscribe to the form you prefer in your favorite podcast client. It's free and you'll get it automatically as soon as we're done. Now let's get to the picks.
Somebody
of the
put
week.
the I can't help but laugh every time I look at it. Somebody put in the Discord I'm not a cat lawyer. I always
What a time.
It is always fun.
It is always fun.
Always fun. Should we just play it one more time?
just
I
for a
believe
second.
you have a filter turned on in the video settings.
I love it.
You might want to.
I love how blurry everyone is.
Take a
We're
look.
trying to. Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but
So much.
I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that. I think if you click the
That everybody's keeping
arrow
a straight
next to
face is crazy to me still.
His voice and accent is just perfect for it.
I'm not a cat.
Not a cat, Your Honor.
I'm prepared to go ahead.
It was also, this video happened during like a real loopy time during the pandemic where things like this just hit harder than they ever would today.
It was what we all needed.
We were all the cat.
We were all the cat.
The cat was all of us.
Paris, you get another pick. That was such a good one. What else?
Okay, I got a pick. It's a game that I've been playing this week. That's not a new. It came out in 2021. It's this game called Norco that I'd really recommend. It's a kind of a Southern Gothic point-and-click narrative adventure. It's set in South Louisiana, and it's like sinking suburbs and industrial
this could get me ready
swamps.
for my upcoming trip.
It's really depressing, so I wouldn't do it if you're, not into that sort of vibe, but it's depressing in a very artful and fun way. It basically shares its name with the setting, which is Norco, Louisiana, a community within St. Charles Parish, a place like backlit by this Shell oil refinery. And it's kind of surreal. It's kind of, it reminds me of Disco Elysium in a certain way. I've just had a really fun time playing it. It's a simple game. It's like been in my Steam library for a while, and I just recommend anybody check it out if they're looking for a fun point and click mystery.
I appreciate this. I'm always looking for a game. I just need a game, but
most of my game recommendations are games that are secretly books. So
nihilistic
that's
is what
not.
they are.
I mean, yeah, they're also that. It's
So I got a question for you. So I finally got a tablet. I got the
good.
cheapest
Remarkable.
possible S10 Samsung.
Oh, Samsung. Okay.
Yeah, so I could do PDFs. And can I do Steam and do that game you've recommended to be on this?
No.
I don't know if you can on that. No.
You can do Android games on that. That's all you can do.
Never mind.
There's
Can
some
you
pretty
do it?
good
Can you play
similar
Steam
Android
on your
games.
computer? You could play Steam on your Mac.
Oh,
the
Yeah,
Mac
but
you use for
that's
this.
an Android device. It's not.
No. He's got a Mac
Yeah,
that
but
he
this
uses
Mac
for
is
this
20
show.
years old.
It's
And-
a game where
fine
you
for
play as a
Norco.
Gutenberg press era illustrator solving a mystery. It's not the most technical
It isn't.
logically.
Oh, okay.
It probably would use as much power as participating in this show, I'd assume. I know nothing about computers.
We could all chip in and get him a Steam Deck. What do you say?
No, it's because I'm not a game guy. Just not.
He will play. I mean, it's really. We just need to get Jeff a brief thing that he can use to play this game because it is literally a Jeff game. They have had teams of PhD researchers from.
Oh,
the
you're not talking about
Gutenberg press.
Norco. You're talking
no. We're
about-
talking
No,
about
no.
Pentiment, that game that I've
yeah.
recommended before. That is
Yeah.
the Gutenberg press
That's the one
era
I'm trying to
game.
use.
You haven't played it yet, Jeff?
No, because
Jeff
how can
doesn't
I?
know how to.
Oh, it's made for you.
Gramps can't get.
It's on
right
the Switch. We could get him a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, let's
It
get
is
him a
on.
Switch.
Is it on the Switch now?
That's what it says.
Oh hell yeah!
Let's get him
Oh,
the new
you
Switch.
gotta. Get Jeff, get the new Switch and then give it to me when you're done.
Why is it erasing it and you can't?
So you're erasing it at the beginning because you're starting anew.
And it's a fresh game.
I see.
Oh, it's such a good game.
Is it really?
replayed it
It gets. It's compelling all the way through. I mean, I love how it
Oh
looks.
yes, I've played it. It's compelling all the way through. There are so many. The choices matter. there are like 3 different time periods you go through, and your choices that you make in each one have drastic impacts in the town when you see it in the next. It is like
is
it'll
this
make you
available
laugh,
on the
it'll make you
current
cry.
Switch? Yeah.
I assume so, yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I get the new Switch, which I don't know when that's going to be, I'll send Jeff my old Switch with Pentiment on it.
Yes, but load it first because I don't know.
I
if
will.
we'll be
I
able
know.
to.
I'll set it all up. It'll be ready to play. All right.
Where's the
that's
on
good.
switch?
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
it's called a
good.
switch. Where's the switch? I don't understand.
I need a Switch. Actually, I have a game that you might you might like, Jeff. I put it in here. Where is it?
There's like a 20-page bibliography. You're going to
It's such a large.
Line 54.
Oh, you already know. I'm sitting on it probably. Line 54. It's called Tippy Coco at tippycoco.com. And you can play this right now on your computer. So the way this works is you are a little underground guy, and you could be one of these, whatever guy you want, but let's play with this guy, Groon. Let's play solo.
What are you trying
and then
to do?
you're gonna
I'm doing it. I don't get it. What am I trying to do?
You're gonna hit the ball over to the other guy. It's like Pong. Whoa!
But it only goes up. It doesn't.
Yeah,
go
right.
up.
You have to give it a little. Oh gosh, I'm not good at
Oh.
this.
How do you?
You have to give it a little English. He's beating the
This
pants
looks
off
like
me.
one of those videos that you'd see your kid watching on YouTube and be like concerned about them. You know?
Especially when you hear the name is Tippy Coco.
Oh, yeah, no, that's definitely a YouTube brain rot.
Oh, I got shut out. So there you go, Jeff. A little game you could play on your
why I
Okay.
don't do this.
on your Samsung.
The chat
tablet.
is telling us, Jeff, that you can install Steam on Chrome OS now.
You can?
Well,
Yeah.
supposedly I could before, and it was impossible. It didn't work.
So someone, hold on, we're gonna.
Because someone linked
Adding you.
Paris is asking for help for Dad.
I asked, can someone link instructions for Jeff?
I saw, by the way, pictures of you in the wedding and your parents and your beautiful family. It would look like a lot of fun. You
We had a
look like
great
you're having a
time.
good
It was
time.
delightful.
Yeah, nice little wedding. Nice to go home for that. Jeff, do you have a pick of the week while I try to get
Yeah, since we're a little low on AI content, I'll give you an AI story. This
All
week.
right.
Which I thought was good. The World Bank has put out hundreds of data sets in public, and the main reason they're doing this is AI readiness, because we've got to feed our AI with facts so that people like Leo don't get led astray.
Okay.
With things. So if you go to the data sets, that link is to the technology data sets.
Water withdrawal for livestock.
No, I went to the technology one for you. If you go to the left,
I just clicked
digital.
the link.
And then why is it? We got to do it again, maybe.
Infrastructure, people, planet, prosperity. Let me search
Click on
for
digital.
technology.
Okay, well, all right.
Doesn't have that.
Click on digital.
Okay.
Now then I guess you got to search again or something.
Digital. Okay. And then in the United States,
go,
mobile
bandwidth
cellular
usage.
subscriptions for 100 inhabitants.
This is interesting.
Oh, it is
because
interesting.
it's really heavy in what is that, Libya and South Africa, heavier than the
It's
US.
heavier there than the United States. The lighter the color, the fewer subscriptions per 100.
Canada is lighter than the US.
4 to 319. But in the really dark areas, it's more than one. It's 180 subscriptions per 100 inhabitants in the Russian Federation. What's going on?
I don't understand, but
I don't understand it. 193 in Libya.
Because, well, you don't know what's going to happen.
In the U.S., it's a mere 112 per 100 inhabitants. So it's still more than 1 to 1. Huh. Oh, but you know what? I have many. I have one for
you raise the
my watch. I have one for my tablet.
You also have
several
84
for my
phones.
tablets. Yeah, so it's that's why. Yeah. Here though, in some countries, I think they must have multiple phones. You think?
Yeah.
Cote d'Ivoire.
Well, in India,
107
every phone you buy has 2 SIMs.
Yeah.
Available.
Oh, well, that's why. There you go.
Oh.
It's the multi-SIM use. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what's
How many
going
SIMs
on.
do you guys have going on your phones?
No SIMs. I'm SIMless. I'm an eSIM kind of guy.
Okay, by SIM I mean eSIM as well.
I have one.
He's being pedantic.
Just one? Oh, whoa. I thought
That's
you had
why
like
in some of these
27.
countries, there might be a carrier different carrier every 5 miles. That's what's going on there.
Oh.
So they are those. That's what it is. In fact,
have
that's
2.
why you can't just look at these numbers and say, "Oh, wow, that's something going on."
Right. Now we could also look at where'd it go here? Where's the podcast?
Price of a fixed broadband basket, 5 gigabytes. Where is it highest? It's highest in Liberia. It's lowest in the United States, pretty low, but it's even lower in Mexico. United States is pretty much the same as Brazil. Russia is very low. Well, is it a low number, high or purchasing
It seems
power
like purchasing.
parities?
I
think they
tell
mean
you.
in constant units of dollars. So, or whatever. That's interesting. The World Bank knows all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
So then we could have Google ad mocks iPhone 17 design before it even launches. Have you seen this?
Yes. I can't show it probably.
You can't?
It's
Okay.
taken down. But it
Even
is.
though it's an ad.
It's a little annoying. I'll be honest with you. It's a Google Pixel and an iPhone 16 Pro talking, and the Google's basically saying, "You're copying everything I did. I did it all before you did." It's a little annoying.
It is,
and it's kind of sad that that's all Google's got at this point. They leave out the part where you're selling 300 phones to my every one. They left that part out. Okay, well, we've had enough of this, I think. Time. Oh, wait a minute. This is a story for you. Google has invested in Wonder.
Yes. I'm telling you, this is the company.
$600 million fund round.
Why?
Google Ventures. It's only in New York. Well, it's Mark Lohr is why. Mark Lohr is the guy who started Diaper.com, which was immediately basically shuttered by Amazon, which then bought it for pennies on the dollar. Mark then started Jet, which he sold to Walmart, made some money. His latest is this little virtual kitchen called Wonder that you guys keep ordering from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I ordered from it twice, and it was
Okay.
fine. It was good. Actually, their queso was really good, but
Yeah.
other stuff was fine.
You've done more to help it than you know, because they now have raised $600 million from Google Ventures and a few others like Excel and the New Enterprise Associates.
And they own Grubhub.
I will say, Wonder is one of those things that feels like a mid 2010s startup, because every time you go there, they've got such a deep discount. You are basically getting the food for free, and it's like, this can't continue. But it really does
Grubhub must
feel like
be the reason these companies are investing, because they also own Grubhub, right?
Well, yeah, and when I go there, it's a little tiny storefront. It's not very big at all. I mean, they sous vide whatever it is, I guess, or microwave it, and there's cars waiting to go do deliveries.
This is the industrialization of food, and I can't say I'm in favor.
And DoorDash is buying Deliveroo for $3.9 billion, and then a software company for more than $1 billion. So this whole food delivery business, but it's not profitable.
I bet this is the case. We've talked about this signal groups that all these movers or shakers in, and how they influence each other. I think these people, these high-end people, they get together. I don't know if it's the Bohemian Grove or in their signal group, and they say things like, I think people are going to stop cooking in 10 years, and they're going to eat out all the time. So let's invest. I think a good investment
they're going to eat out, but
out. They'll be in. It's a new thing. It's eating out in, and it's going to be huge. And I think that they all kind of spin themselves up like the next big thing, like is driverless taxis, or, and I think they get all excited, and then they buy into this. But I don't know if it means anything. We've seen lots of collapses around this kind of groupthink venture investment. Yes.
of course it'll never happen to AI. That's the one area.
AI is one of the biggest, isn't it? I happen to be
people are
part
always
of
going
that
to want
signal
sand,
group. So.
and there's always plenty of sand.
Leo, has the Sand Walker appeared in this show?
No.
You sound unsure.
I'm keeping him to myself.
Does he know that he's the Sandwalker?
No.
Okay.
whole persona has.
I really like that one.
For those of you on audio, Leo just descended.
For those of you on audio, you've just got to go experience this fresh on video. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Leo as sand.
I turned into
It was
sand.
upsetting. The thing that got me is his body turned into sand, but his coiffed hair remained for far longer than
Anthony,
you.
can we see it again, please?
This is Anthony Nielsen's great work. We talked a little bit about
Anthony is chuckling in a really soft. Oh, the hair just falls over. It doesn't even get
His hair was like a cockroach.
There's nothing to hold it up.
Your attack.
This Anthony Nielsen is brilliant with AI video, and he shared a little bit about how he does this in our last AI user group. Next one, we've moved it, right, Anthony? When's the next one? It's coming up first Friday?
I think it's of next month.
First
It's
Friday
kind of shuffled
of
around.
June. Yeah. So if you're in the club, you'll just look at the announcements, or not the announcements, those events, and you'll see the next AI user group. But that's the kind of thing, and it's great to watch Anthony at work. He's remarkable what he does. Have we seen them all, Anthony, or do you have others in?
We have one left
in reserve.
One.
Keep it a surprise.
A Leo one or a Jeff one?
It's a Jeff one.
Oh, you already saw me being peeled, and you saw me turning into sand.
All right.
But okay, Benito tries to conserve them.
Yeah, Benito tries to hide them from us.
So Jeff is sitting, as he does, at his desk. Suddenly the wall disappears. He walks out of his office to the beach.
The camera pans around him. We see angles of Jeff's offices that have been hidden from time and space.
Good point.
And then he walks into the
water.
beach.
Walk into the sea. Determinism.
And moral panic is made of sand. That's really good.
Such a good video. Wow. And you guys think that AI is nothing? That's not nothing, my friends.
No, that's AI in the service of good.
How long does it take you to make these, Anthony?
Weeks.
I don't want to get into it, but needless to say, I don't get it. I don't get it right away. So
it's a lot of work. He puts a lot of work into it.
That's why you platform do you prefer, Anthony?
It depends. Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. Yeah.
Okay.
But like it's a mix of stuff. Like sometimes I'll use an image from ChatGPT, then pull that into a different thing to generate the video.
This is what we're really starting to see, is that people who are very adept at this are really magicians pulling strings. They're doing all different kinds. You can't just sit down as you did, Paris, and say, here's a cat picture, make him a poke.
See, Anthony could get you the cat
I
picture you
should
want.
be able to do that,
You
though.
will.
I don't think that's that
Give it
difficult.
time.
Anthony could get you your Pope cat, I think, being crowned.
I mean, we'll get there, but like right now, it's not as easy as here's an image, recreate. Like even the Leo stuff doesn't look exactly like Leo, but
No,
if
it
you
looks
had a Leo model,
insulting.
you could do that.
Fat. And I'm hurt. I'm deeply hurt. Well, we're about out of time on this program. I thank you all for joining us. It's really fun to do the show, and sometimes we talk more about AI. Who's next week? Who's scheduled for next week? Is MG going to come by, or
it's Emily Bender, I think. And, Alex.
Well, now this is exciting. These are your people, Jeff Jarvis, Emily Bender, who is
Alex Hanna,
and Alex Hanna.
Dare.
These are the two who coined the term tescrial.
No. Sorry, that is Timnit Gebru and Emil Torres.
Oh, that's right.
But they write about it in their book. Emily Bender is a co-author of the Stochastic Parrots paper. She is a linguist at University of Washington.
Excellent.
And Alex Hanna is at DARE, which was founded by Timnit Gebru. And the AI Con is very good about cutting through the hype of AI and the misuse of AI.
Very interesting. That will be next week on Intelligent Machines.
And I think they come on in the middle of the show next week.
Yeah, the scheduling worked out that we will get a little bit of the show, then they'll come on, and then we'll finish it up.
I'm excited to be talking about something entirely silly and be like, what's that? I hear something on the wind, and then cut to a guest interview.
I'll just turn into sand for that interview and fall away.
And don't explain it to them.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We will see you next time on Intelligent Machines. Bye-bye.